Hello there.
Hello, imbecile.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello there.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, bitches.
Hello. Hello. Hello.
All rise and like, subscribe, and bang the gavel, baby.
All rise, order in the court. We got a case, ladies and gentlemen, and harassment court is back. You know, Mikey, you could rewind that if you wanted to. It's pretty good. I had it up on the TV. But that's up to you.
It was a very good case. Well, I'm going to wait and see if he has something to go into.
All right.
Because this was the first one on the docket today.
Nice. Well, welcome one and all. Live courtroom drama unfolding in front of our very eyes. Harassment court is on today, which is great. I know Terminator sent over a link to a great one too that I've never seen him before. The judge was just pretty crazy. Good to see everybody jumping in. Happy Friday, by the way. Made it to the weekend, which is good.
Is it free for all Friday or just Friday?
Just Friday today.
Yeah.
I do want to show you very quick. I've got this pulled up. Very interesting cast of characters at a court I don't believe we have ever been to. But
oh, Sherry. Oh.
And Tyrone down there.
Why Sherry on 2 cams?
Great question. She's very important, I guess.
Well, if you want, Creed, I will jump back and but we do have somebody new showing up. So I kind of,
let's do it. We can always go back some other time. It's fine.
Okay.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Let's get ready.
Remember, guys, we try our best not to talk a lot.
Yesterday afternoon, I can't remember. And I see that the respondent was served on March 14th.
Uh-oh.
Let me just confirm that. Looks like
Respondent's not going to show up.
And oh, maybe it's the same person actually.
Yes, this is in Washington.
Anyway, he was served March 14th.
Okay.
Anti-harassment.
He filed a response. I don't know if you got that. We can forward it to you since he filed it. But he's not connected today, so he's not on the meeting.
Okay.
Because he was served on the 14th, that was 4 days ago. He has to be served actually 5.
I think I got that message right here
prior to the hearing. So because it was a little late, unfortunately.
Was that to Sergeant Buzzkill or to them?
I was just
oh no, that's the message that with the complainant's friend here, the protagonist sent.
So
okay.
Unfortunately, we'd have to set it over, and you'd have to have him served. You don't. There's a temporary order in place. That order
you've been served
until the next hearing.
Okay.
And you'd have to have him served just with that order because it has the new date on there. He's been served with everything else. You don't have to worry about that. But it's just the new order.
Hello, Dustin.
And it's up to you if you want to try to have law enforcement serve him or have the same process server do it. But bottom line is it has to be served 5 business days prior to the next hearing.
Yeah, he went out on the Friday, but the neighbor said he wasn't going to be home till Sunday, so that pushed us off to Monday.
Okay.
Neighbor dispute.
Let me see. Let's look at the calendar here. See what we've got.
And I did not get his response, so if I could get that, that'd be great.
I just showed it. I just showed the response.
It's not that long. It's
the neighbor.
It really wasn't that long. It was really short, Creed.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm wondering if it's a neighbor or you never know because it could be anything.
If we set it 2 weeks out,
they trigger me so much, Nancy, but I love them.
Mean that
we had one live.
Oh, they're hilarious.
So we could, let me say, we could either do April 1st or March 31st, which is Thursday. Do you have a preference?
All right, so we're rescheduling this because
the Friday would be better for me.
Keep an eye until, I think so. Let's just see what's happening over here at William something meeting room.
Okay, so so you're going to put me in that room as well. I just want to make sure I'm not in both rooms at the same time.
Like Sharon.
Oh no, we don't do that to anyone.
I appreciate that. Some
But if
courts
we did
do.
do it to someone, we'd do it to you.
And I appreciate that as well, Judge. And I would expect no less.
What a cat.
And deserve no more. So, yes. That'd be
We've
great.
got Bridgeport over here with a bandana on.
Sherry's a hottie there. Oh,
We
she
got-
just went black.
Moto G.
All
Well,
right.
there's two
Sherry got my
Sherrys.
email. Go
She's
ahead and
got
send
two
that
of
over,
them.
and you all have a
We
good
gotta
weekend.
remember.
Okay.
She's
Why?
on two.
Well, yes, she does.
She's talented like that, Creed.
All right. you can record that.
Moto G looking
All right,
pretty.
I like
Ms.
turtles.
Moss, you can leave the court as well.
Well, Val.
Let's
Val.
go
Jen?
Johnson Village versus Sydney Banache.
I'm
Johnson
Kathy.
Village.
I am Kathy
Sorry.
Rickar
Hi,
from
Kathy.
Johnson's Village.
Hi, Kathy.
Kathy's here
Oh,
from
there you are.
Jansen's Village.
It took a while for you to connect, so that's why we're.
Yeah, sorry.
And do we have someone from Pallet Slav?
Yes, Your Honor. Sarah Reed appearing on behalf of the plaintiff.
There you are. All right, very good.
My goodness.
We have anyone on behalf of, or is Sydney Banache or anyone on Sydney Banache's behalf?
Oshkosh Badash.
Sydney is full of panache.
Jeanette got a
What
shirt.
do you like to do, Ms. Reed?
Hell yeah.
Your Honor, based on his failure to appear, it's my understanding that Sarah has been denied. I did
Oh, that
talk to
idea.
Mr. Mills earlier.
Good
this
old
afternoon.
Sarah.
I would ask for entry of the default possession judgment in this case.
60 gonna get your ass beat.
You better hope Carol's not here.
Better hope.
You can submit that on 7 days.
All right, I will do so. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
This lady is scary hideous.
You're welcome.
You're welcome. Horse Gamer, good to see you.
Hello.
A lot of courtroom
It's called,
stuff happening today.
Rabbit River versus
Yeah.
Charles Chavana.
Yeah, these are people not
Good
paying rent, I
afternoon,
do
Your Honor.
believe.
Mark Land on behalf of the plaintiff.
Well,
Mr. Chavana,
toasty?
now is the time to speak up.
Do you think
Yeah.
Sherry is representing one of the
We got room with Mr. Chavana.
Yeah, she's a
Yes,
lawyer.
real estate people, or do you think
Definitely
she's
an
the
attorney.
one they're trying to move her out? Well,
I'm
Creed,
guessing at least 2 years of rent not paid.
just letting you know, we've got Deanna has entered, and now
Well,
Andrea is here.
Yep, we're on it. Let's see what we got. Harassment court number 1 today
Okay,
for
so I've
me.
got Deanne's iPad connected. Are you Deanne Graham?
Yes.
Okay. And then
Did
we
you paint
have,
those beautiful paintings?
I was just gonna say, are you
Andrea Island as a
artiste,
respondent.
Deanne?
Yeah.
Am I saying
whatever.
your name correctly?
Yes.
Or is it Island, not Ayland?
It's Island.
Island, okay.
Is it really though? It's like Eland.
So before I forget, I'll swear you both in and we'll talk about how it's going to work. So if you could raise your right hands, please. And do you swear or affirm the evidence you're about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yeah, she is.
Does she have a thong on her head?
Oh, she's a sexy hippie.
We'll go over your
She's cosplaying.
petition. And I have that in front of me as well, if there's anything you'd like to refer to.
She said, check out my
But I
rack,
think it might be
Judge.
helpful to me because frankly, I had kind of a hard time reading parts of the petition. I think that was probably an issue with the way it was scanned. See, David's iPhone just connected. I wonder who that is.
David, what's he doing here?
Here,
She has her
actually,
head
why don't you stand
perfectly
by for a
aligned with
second?
the
There's
light
another
in the ceiling fan.
person who just popped in, I think, for the case that we already.
Like,
Oh,
you're
no,
gonna
back
do your
at
thing?
you.
Here you go,
Back-
baby.
I'll
Look at
just
my
leave it off
rack.
in the meeting
Tit for
a
tit.
moment. Police won't take too
Tat
long.
for
Sorry
tat.
about that. Yeah.
Now what? Oh, what do you think they're fighting
Baba
about,
Booey.
Creed?
Baba Bowie.
Oh, David? Maybe they're fighting over David. I see why.
He's a hottie.
That son of a bitch and David's
Hello?
here.
Hi. Looks like the person is logged in as David's iPhone. What's your name, David?
David Gaddis.
Okay.
Oh.
So
I'm here to try and date one of these women tonight.
we set the case over to.
Well, the artiste
April
has an
1st.
iPad. What do you
I
think of
see
that
You were
thing?
served in time and you weren't connected to the hearing, so we proceeded in that fashion.
Oh, it's the other
You'll be
case.
Oh,
served.
nice.
The
Hey, y'all.
temporary order has been reissued until the next date, the next hearing. So that's
That
still
guy was
effective until
late for the
next
other
hearing.
one.
You should
He
be
did
served
show
with
up.
that. within basically 5 business days prior to the next hearing. If you would like, we can email you a copy of that if you just want a copy of it informally, though.
Damn it, David.
I don't really understand what's happening. I submitted evidence yesterday to the court.
Yes, you did.
Mhm.
So I'm sorry, I didn't understand why we're not doing this today and why I'm
Here,
still.
You're
late.
You're late,
Okay,
dummy.
so it's because you showed up an hour and 15 minutes late. That's why. So the petitioner was connected. You had not been served in time. You were not present. So we set it over to allow the petitioner time to serve you in a timely fashion.
Hour and 15 minutes. I mean,
Okay.
So that's what happened. So it's set to April 1st at
Dick.
9 o'clock.
hour and 15 minutes.
Okay. And we can, if you like, we can email
In
you.
my
a copy
defense,
of that
Your Honor,
order
I did have a
reissuing it.
reservation.
You're probably going to get served.
Real quick, we have a little different shot of Sherry. Real quick, I just wanted you to see.
On the move with Sherry.
It doesn't look like the same Sherry though, does it?
It really doesn't. Did Sherry get younger?
Yeah, she did.
Well, it's going to
Got
get served anyway, right? You can send it
Vicky,
to me
that's
via
crazy.
email. That would be great. I can give you my email
I'm
address.
so glad to hear. a
D
couple
as in David,
survived.
W as in
Wow.
William, G as in Gaddis, DWG 2020.
20. Okay, looks like we have it. So we'll send that to you. But
mean,
the
barely
petitioner's
late.
gonna-
Especially when you come in with a little bit of
So have
attitude.
someone
Like, I
serving
don't
it, they have
understand
to basically
why
have
we're
to-
not doing
I
it.
don't know why I'm doing this. I've already turned in
But we'll
some
send you a
evidence.
copy just so you have it.
My apologies for the technical difficulties.
That's right. So we'll talk to you April
Or were you just?
1st. That's a
He didn't
Friday
even
at
acknowledge
9.
that.
Technical
just, you know,
difficulties that
the-
lasted
this-
an hour and
what you
15
submitted,
minutes,
I think it
guys.
was yesterday. You said we forwarded that
Yes.
to the petitioner, so she'll
The
have
note.
a copy of that.
The one where you said
Okay.
F off.
I had wanted
Forward
to.
it.
I had wanted to get it to her yesterday so that she had a chance to read it, but there's a stay away order.
Yeah, you don't have to
Ooh.
worry about it. We sent it to her. So that's all. That's
All
been
right.
taken care of.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Good luck with your case, because the judge ain't gonna forget you.
Judge already remembers you're the a-hole that was an hour and 15 minutes
Okay.
late.
and
Hi,
that
David.
is
Now
Ms.
you
Graham
get the
and Ms. Island.
count.
Bye,
So Ms.
David.
Graham, I read over your petition, like I said, and I like I said, I had a kind of hard time reading it. I
Uh-oh.
don't think that was.
Your
your
Honor,
problem.
I'm back.
More the way it was scanned into the system. So
Sorry for
I think it-
interrupting. I'm
Oh,
sorry
yes,
for
sir.
interrupting. I'm having a hard time dropping this call. I don't know what to
Oh,
do
that's
here.
okay. Sure, I'll kick you out. It's probably easier.
Thank you.
Okay.
Hey, get out of here.
Wow.
Okay, hang up. Damn it,
Next.
Maybe Ms. Graham, if you could just walk me through your how you know Ms. Island and your concerns
Former
and-
lovers.
and, about her. I may have some questions for you as well.
Okay, so I was seeing her wife and her were separated, and Cheryl found me on Facebook. We started dating, and it was a back and forth relationship because Cheryl couldn't decide what she wanted to do. And so I did have a restraining order against her. I think it was in the summer of last year because
You're
Andrea
dating Cheryl, right?
was in a jealous
Uh-huh.
rage about me and her being together, and she was arrested and tased, and a shotgun was taken away
Oh,
because she was going to come after me with that. And so, but I had that drop because Cheryl begged and begged and begged for me to drop that because it would look better for Andrea, I guess, when she was going through court and in jail and all that. And so it was just a back and forth relationship until recently where she has,
Six, you were late and he was
she
late.
came over to my house. Cheryl was there one day and pounding on my door. I went out there because my roommate said she was going to call the cops on me. So we all left. Andrea come back again to talk to me. And this
Who
is
is
all
it?
on my Ring camera. And then on the 6th of last month, she came to my house again, wanting to talk to me about my relationship with Cheryl.
Cheryl.
Since then, she has come in with her daughter to where I work. I work at the Salmon Creek Hospital in the emergency department. And that day I was working in Pitt, which is right behind, like you come in, you get screened at the front, and then you go to the back to get like all your lab works done and all of that done.
Andrea already can't wait to talk. I can
Super
see
busy day.
simmering.
We even asked visitors not to be there and she didn't leave. And I don't think there was any reason for her to even be at my hospital because her daughter had all of her surgeries
Wow, her hospital.
at the other
My
hospital.
hospital.
Peace off. And so
You peace off.
Cheryl let Andrea know that I was working because Cheryl is the ED screener. Cheryl's her wife.
Oh, Cheryl.
And so I
So they were working together. It was
Alexis
a workplace
back,
romance.
and then I told she wouldn't come. I told my nurse that I refused to take care of her. I'm not getting in her chart. I don't want to be any part of their stay
A few, I think.
And so, and I didn't, but part of my job is to call people back, do EKGs, do whatever the doctors are asking me to do.
Real quick, Creed, to clear everything up.
Yeah.
The lady at the bottom was married to the now girlfriend
Right.
of Deanna up there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
she
Yeah.
has basically stole away the wife
And
from Andrea Island.
they might all been working together or something like that too. And just FYI, so David was part of another case. He was an hour and 15 minutes late and he just showed up.
Had nothing to do with this case. He was
Yeah.
just a real dick.
Do back there. And so I would take people back and forth through the waiting room. And so she called my boss and my patient relations lady and told them that I was harassing her when she was there, which is not true. I didn't make eye contact with her.
Correct.
I never said one word to her. And then she continued to tell my boss and patient relations that I was sleeping with her wife and all of that details.
True.
Which is none of anybody's business. And that's the only reason that she came to my job.
Just like her wife does
And
now every
she
night.
sent letters to my house, which I have those. I didn't submit those just because I wanted to get a restraining order against her right away. And I wasn't thinking about sending all that, but I do have a copy
good
if
if
you
she
want
was.
that. And I do have like lots of people at work that saw this and said that I did nothing wrong. And she's the one that called my boss
At
and,
my hospital.
and there's an investigation at work because of it.
It's starting.
Let me see. So I'm sorry to stop you. I just see that there is another case that was a petition that was filed by Ms. Island against Ms. Graham. I hadn't seen that before. It looks like it was filed on March 11th.
It was in retaliation is
I
what
see
it was.
filed 2 days after. And that one's set for March 25th. It looks like it's already been served. Do you?
Yeah.
Well, served. And I haven't looked at that one because I didn't see it was on the docket today. So I just now see it that it was served.
So
Do
is
you want
Andrea going
to-
to throw out a bunch of like,
Since you
is she
do
going
have
to put
some
the
more, it
hammer
sounds
down
like you
on
might want to submit.
the
Do you want
AM?
to
Oh, she's
address
gonna have
both of these at
a
the
million
same time
excuses
on March
here in a minute.
25th, since we're going to be there for that anyway? And I'll ask
Do you
Ms.
want me to
Island the same
submit
thing.
everything? Is that what you're saying?
So
there's two cases, one filed by Ms. Graham, one filed by Ms. Island.
They both did.
This case filed by Ms. Graham
Ooh,
is set
look at a
obviously
stack
for
of paper.
today for a hearing. The other case is set for March 25th, so next week from today for a hearing.
Part two.
Yeah.
I have not reviewed that one because I didn't know it was on. It wasn't set for today, so I didn't review it. That's what I'm getting at. And my question is, and this is a question for both the parties, would you like to just address them both at the same time on March 25th? Because it seems like I'm just glancing at the petition in the other case. It looks like it's all the same
It is all the same.
thing, basically.
Yes.
Do you
Same
want
exact thing.
Why don't we do it today and
But a
save us
lot of
the
it-
25th anyway?
Right.
You want to address it all at once on the 25th?
I want to get mine over with today. I don't want her to
There
show
you
up my
go.
house, my job,
Nice.
anything anymore.
Nice.
There you go.
All
There
right.
you go.
Okay.
Nice try, Judge.
I'll just
I'll just do it today then, I guess.
Fine. It's Friday.
Or
Don't you
whatever's
understand?
easiest for you.
Okay.
No,
I mean,
no,
it's
no,
fine.
no,
Oh,
no,
no, no.
You-
Yeah, don't go back on
You
that
said
now.
you had some documents or something, and I'm not telling you what to provide to the court. It's totally up to you. But if you do, obviously, I don't have what you have since you haven't provided it.
She doesn't like what you have, Judge, anyways.
If you wanted to, we could do this on the 25th, and then if you wanted to send some stuff in, you could do that. But
Quit trying to push it off, Judge.
My thought is we're going to do this all over again on the 25th anyway.
Voila.
So let's just set it all over the 25th. I'm sorry,
Do
I
it
didn't
live.
see that until you were about halfway through your presentation, Ms. Graham. So I apologize for not catching that sooner. And
He is doing his damnedest.
But
She
with
just
that,
said,
I
I
will
want
tell
it
you, if
settled
there is
today.
anything else you want me to look at, you can. The best way to do that would be if it's something you can email. That would be ideal.
Okay.
Can we go ahead and let Andrea just bitch a little
We're
bit?
going to email.
Yeah, I just wanted to hear a
document
little
both
bit of her
hands
side
momentarily, and if you just want to respond to that, you can do that.
Okay. I don't know how to send my Ring camera video or whatever. But
Well,
then there's
Let's just screen share it.
audio and video from my work too. I don't know how to send that, but I can have my boss write me something.
Yeah, that's fine if you want to do that. And then if you have any sort of audio or video things that you have, probably the best way to do
Breaking
that,
news.
and maybe you want to practice between now and then, is you can screen share on Zoom, and then it just plays the audio and or video for everybody, and that way we can all look at it at the same time. That's probably
Snap judgment, Creed. What do you Ireland, you say? Hey, YouTube user.
Hello, YouTube user.
Snap judgment. Obviously, Deanne up here has taken away Andrea's wife. They are now lovers. Scorned lover. Is that what we're looking at? Basically, is that the person who's causing the problems down there, all the contention?
I can't even make a snap judgment without hearing anything from Andrea. That's.
Andrea got tased.
it's the most convenient way for the court. I know it's maybe not the easiest way for you, but if you're able to make that happen, that would be ideal. And that way we don't have to try sending files and things back and forth, because that never works. And then, so for that, just whatever you have, you can just play it at the next hearing. And then any documents or anything that you can email, if you want to send that to us, you can respond to Kelsey. She's going to send you some documents.
Okay.
And then we'll forward that on to the other party. So that way you're not talking to each other directly. We can just forward those things on.
So there's still a temporary order then until next week. So she can't like show up to my work or my house, my job.
Whatever's in the temporary order will continue in effect until next week. And then we'll just hash it all out next week.
Okay.
Is that, Ms. Island? I see you nodding your head, so it looks like you're okay with that, I'm guessing. Is that safe to say?
I'm absolutely fine, because I actually have some more documentation that needs to be put in.
And same rules for you. If you want to submit, you can.
I
would say
you know,
to send
Sherry,
something as soon as
wherever her
possible,
name
because
was,
we're gonna
just
have to
off
forward it to
camera.
the other party. And if
Shelly,
it's,
Sherry.
we want to be
Samantha.
able to have everybody else's stuff by the next hearing, so we can go ahead and proceed.
I'll try to get it done today.
Okay, that'd be perfect. Any questions from anybody about procedural things?
Just
or-
let it go, girls.
Okay.
Just let it go.
So we'll send a document. We'll just email that to both parties, and that'll just show that the temporary order will continue in effect till the next hearing, which is going to be March 25th at 9:00.
Yeah, she's a ticking
The case
time
is
bomb.
already set for that date.
Oh,
we'll
yeah.
just hash it all out.
They've already taken a shotgun from her.
Anything you want to submit, you can just send to that.
Yeah.
Email
Have
to
a seat.
Kelsey. We'll make sure it goes in the file, and then
Right?
forward it to the other party.
Okay. Sounds good.
Well, with that, thank you for your patience today. I'm sorry we didn't accomplish a whole lot.
Real quick, this just happened while we were watching that. I just queued it up. Watch Bridgeport Apartments here take a swig of her Mountain Dew. It's kind of funny.
She's taking it to Pound Town, you say?
Sorry.
Just watch.
Possession.
Watch her face.
Okay, you're asking for a default?
Yes.
All right, Ms. Smith? Ms. Smith?
Did you see her
Yeah.
face?
Was it room temperature? She did not.
That
seem
was
happy.
pretty funny.
I'll let you know as soon as we get some new action here in the harassment court. I love harassment court. It's only on Fridays.
We had, I thought a conditional dismissal worked out, but maybe it might be a good idea for him to go talk to them to make sure they're properly advised of their rights.
Oh, Mr. Borton, I didn't realize you were involved in that.
Your Honor,
I did speak with her.
I believe that's a no.
Trying to represent her.
Yeah. God bless.
So we
Didn't she just change her name down there, Creed?
Yeah, it's Lori now.
Make sure she understands what she's doing.
Not even the same last name, is it?
Oh, no, there she is again. They've come on. Ms. Meservy,
Yes.
do you understand what's going on, or do you need to talk with Mr. Borton?
No, I understand what's going on, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Whitty then?
Thank you, Your Honor. In this case, we had requested an immediate writ on a health and safety eviction. We've agreed to enter into a
Hoarder
alert
would
provide that Ms. Meservy would move by April 18th. If she moves by April 18th, that gives her 30 days. If she moves by April 18th, then the case stays dismissed and nothing's on a record. And if she doesn't move, then obviously we'd have
On the
to
floor
raise the
somewhere
court
underneath the
and
newspapers
seek
and
entry
garbage.
of a judgment and obtain a writ.
Okay, Ms. Meservy, you heard that? Is that what you agreed to?
Yes.
All right, so Mr. Whitty, I'm going to ask you to go ahead and you can submit that.
Can we see
and,
pictures of the
just make
house?
Sure, you're gonna do it under a 7-day, or what are you gonna do?
I talked to Miss McKenzie, who's also with Miss Meservy, that's her sister. I'm going to email her a proposed conditional dismissal, and they should be able to send me back an executed CD for us to file with the court.
Perfect, that's great. All right, that's how we'll do it. Then you can leave the court.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
They're gonna need a backhoe to get all that stuff out of her house.
Yeah. Burn it down. Who's this taking a big swig over here?
If you could unmute yourself and just
The
let me know.
Babale Creed. Sylvia here is waiting for her turn as soon as the next person
There, I'm
gets
sorry. I
in.
didn't realize I was on mute.
Oh, that's okay.
Can we see you?
So we got both
Who
parties
talking?
connected.
Look at that hair. It's like shaved on one side.
I have the petition in front of me. I read over the petition. I will tell you up front, I'll probably need someone to kind of walk me through it because there's a fair amount of material in here.
Uh-oh.
Some of it, honestly,
About to get
seems a little bit
spicy.
hard.
Looks like we got a banger coming up.
Could just be my shortcoming there. So.
Thank
So
you
I'll start
guys
both parties
for joining us.
before I
80 of
forget.
you here. If you're
Raise
new
your
here,
right hand,
please slap a like on it.
And do you swear or affirm
Subscribe,
the evidence you're about to
notifications
give shall be
on,
the truth, the whole truth, and nothing
and
but the truth.
say, hell no.
Yes, I do.
Okay, everyone says yes. And
We can't see the other
Ms.
lady.
Feitstein,
How do we know
I
she
have-
even held her
we'll
hand
hear
up?
from Ms. Feitstein
Yeah.
first, and then Ms. Feitstein. At that point, you're welcome to respond however you like. So, but for the time being, stand by, take notes if there's anything you'd like to respond to, and then.
Do you think Sylvia has a boyfriend over in
Ms.
China?
Feitstein, is there? You don't have to walk me through every single detail, but if you kind of walk me through it, that might be helpful to me. And I have
He
everything in
doesn't
front
want
of
to
me.
leave
If there's
because of
anything
his
you'd like to
parents,
refer
because he
to.
pays for his parents.
Yeah, I know there is a lot of information there. So I was going to kind of approach it as giving sort of a summary, and then you could ask me questions as needed.
That would be great.
So essentially, for pretty much most of my life, my mother's behavior toward me has been emotionally abusive.
Oh, mama.
Hey now.
Not
Mama drama.
necessarily by intent. I believe that she has some form of mental illness that drives that behavior, but the reality is that that emotionally abusive behavior is there, and it tends to run in cycles.
Who's
And
my dog
it
does
is
when
very
my
intense.
cat's around.
And she has exhibited extreme behavior in
Oh, I can't wait for mom to talk.
pursuing me in the past and contacting me. And I did summarize it for myself. To start with, the cycle tends to be her being nice, and then her kind of needling me, and then us getting into an argument, and then I've learned to block her, and then she would pursue other means of contacting me. And so
Everyone's crying already.
Either that or she's like, whatever.
There we go. So in July of 2019 through September, we got into a few of those exchanges, and in July, it culminated in her emailing me death threats.
Whoa.
Admittedly, it seemed while she was blackout drunk. I did speak to her the next day. She did not remember sending those emails. But she did, and they were there. She did actually ask me to delete them at the time, and I just kind of brushed her off. And then around December 2020, I started feeling, panicked at the very thought of her
I got those
texting
emails.
me. And
Oh, yeah.
so
Are they leaked?
while talking with a therapist, I concluded that the best
Thanks,
decision
Mom.
would be to just cut contact. And I did so as firmly and compassionately as I could by sending her, well, initially by calling and leaving a voicemail, which she did not seem to get. And then I sent an email saying
If I have to
basically,
email my mom,
I do not
our
want you to
relationship may
contact
be in
me.
trouble.
This is non-negotiable. I gave her time to get a new phone because she had been on my phone account. And I know that she was on a monthly income. I believe I let her know that through the email that if she
Troll
had any
watch?
legal concerns,
Thank you,
such
Mike.
as getting her mother's ashes back because she had left them at my house several years prior when she was staying with us,
Hey, Mayor.
that she could contact my husband. But it became evident over those next few months that she was just using that as a means of keeping communication open and asking about me. And
Chill
she had
out
also
until you
figured out
understand what we
that
do
she
here, and
could
then you
call
can
my
make a
phone
comment.
even though I
That's
had
what I'm
blocked her number and leave me voicemails.
That's what I'm trying to say.
I've seen YB mean too.
Multiple
I
around
know,
times.
but try to be a troll
Um,
today. You should know what's going on.
And
how
so
we
at that
do
point
things and who we
in
are.
June of 2020, I changed my number. So that I did not even get those.
emailed Mom.
And I told my husband that, look, she's
Like-
not, we had suggested mailing the ashes to her. She did not want that.
Maybe she didn't want them.
We hadn't really been given any other way to take care of that. So I said, you can just block her. I'm not expecting you to be a means of communication for that anymore.
Where did this all begin? That's
At
what I
that
want.
point, she did
the day
start
she was
talking to my
born.
dad and trying to get him to act as kind of a liaison. But I had made it clear that the only thing that we had to talk about was any legal concerns such as her mother's
Is there
ashes.
any way the judge is listening?
Then in June of 2021, she
Seem to
did
listen.
ask me to be an emergency contact for her.
But maybe.
And I
Let's need a
figured
minute.
that this was just a means to get my address and my phone number. But in the interest of being kind, because I knew that she did not have any family on this side of the country, I said yes. Right? As long as she does
Word
not
salad,
need
as they say.
my phone number or my address. As long as she just puts my name down as
Yeah, she
someone
can't even get the
for police
address?
to
Like,
look
that's-
up, basically, if needed.
What do you know? Shit's real.
So I told my dad that,
that woman
and
a
of
tissue,
course
please.
she
Creed, I
did not
found.
believe.
I
Or I suspect
luckily
did not believe
been
my
able to
dad when
obtain the
he,
judge's writing.
conveyed that to her. However, any answer
He's making a
that
grocery
he gave
list.
her other than yes, here is Sylvia's address and phone number, probably would have been perceived as a lie. Or so I assume. But she
What that was.
then
She had a hard time.
kept harassing him, according to my father,
No.
to get my address and phone number. and said
a
that
good
she
night.
could get it another way. And after talking to my father, he told me that around December of last year of 2021, she actually bragged to him about getting my address online.
I was just happy. I did something on the computer and it finally worked. That's what I was happy about.
And he asked her to not contact me, to leave me alone. And she said that,
No.
of course, she would never cross that boundary.
No.
And then it would appear that she tried to send me a birthday card in January, but did not have the apartment number.
Dare she?
Somehow she then got the apartment number and then sent me that card after it had been returned to sender, as well as an additional Valentine's Day card. And
It was a request for mediation. That's why I sent
And a
it.
birthday card.
Because
And-
Aaron didn't tell me he had stopped.
Stand by for a minute, Ms. Spites. Go ahead, Ms. Spites.
I'm sorry.
as well as some letters along with that.
Love
When I received that information, or when I received that letter, I didn't even read it, because I have PTSD. I was diagnosed with PTSD.
Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. That's terrible.
In August of 2020.
Yeah, Mom's on the phone, I guess.
As well as depression and anxiety as a result of the emotional abuse that I dealt with
She tried to send me a birthday card. You
for
understand,
my
right?
adolescence and early adult
She
years.
is highly out of line.
So I didn't read it. I, however, figured that, okay,
name is
well, now
Miss
I have
Spaghetti
to
Bruce
move
Springsteen.
forward with a protection order. And so I asked my
Mrs.
husband
Chisholm.
to read through the information so that we could know the contents.
She didn't read it?
And then I submitted the protection order. And then a few days later, she sent another
kinda
letter.
sucks. That
However, she had
Walmart.
not been served yet.
Yeah, I didn't.
PTSD over
It was sent on the 12th.
No more
I think the
24-hour
12th or the 13th,
Cool.
something like that.
It was sent on the 13th. The protection order had gone into effect the previous Friday.
I hadn't received it.
Am I the only one that thinks Mom hasn't really done nothing too wild
I know.
out there?
It doesn't. There's no evidence so far, really, unless she's just saying the wrong things. That's just how I feel. And the judge, here's one thing why I really think he is kind of ignoring a lot of this. He's letting them talk back and forth, and I think that's a huge no-no, right? I mean,
In the case earlier, the one where the guy was in jail and the other one wasn't, he let them talk back and forth because he said, I feel like this is therapeutic and this is good.
okay, I understand that, but then he let that
But
go.
once it gets out of hand,
maybe that's why he's letting that go. Then I kind of get that, but if you guys know, are we kind of in line with this? That
as someone who came from a horrible childhood, this does not seem that out there. No physical abuse. All we're talking about is some emotional abuse, which is bad.
well, sure, yeah, but again, yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. Does the mother get a chance to say anything? That's what I hope. I hope that the mother does.
Oh yeah, and Mom's is
then we'll know.
Mom's is going to go off the rails, but we'll see. I hope not, but we'll see.
But the respondent had not received it yet. However, she did contact me again. In that letter, she did say that she would not contact me unless she had a reason to. Basically.
That's usually how.
If I didn't hear from you,
So
I would
If
stop.
you could, Ms. Spites, if you
I'm
could just
sorry.
stand by for a moment. Once Ms. Spites had a chance to finish, you're welcome to
Okay,
respond.
I'm so sorry.
Well, there it is.
However, her past behavior has indicated that in saying what she is not going to do, she also said she would never show up at my house uninvited. But her past behavior has indicated that in saying what she is not going to do, she is in fact telling me what she is going to do.
No, I would never do that.
Is that
And,
Blue
given
Iris?
her past behavior, I am convinced that she will do exactly that when she manages to justify it to herself.
Huh.
So the most recent, so you
So
told
egregious.
Ms. Spites basically not to have any contact with you the first, more or less definitively in, I think it was December or January of 2020. Is that right?
January of 2020, yes.
January 2020.
So it's boiling down to she just wasn't want her mom to contact her at all, and her mom
And
continues
we
to
had
try
been
to
living in
contact her.
California at that time,
Yeah.
Okay.
but moved about 5 months later up to Washington.
But since then, you've continued to get contact from
Birthday
I won't
cards.
have you go over it, but in summary, you've continued to have contact from her in various forms, repeatedly.
It's not like
since-
mom's is a
since that
drunk.
date.
Yes, and I had managed to
be.
successfully, I guess, veil my contact information from her after a certain point, but she went through the effort of locating me online, and I had actually gone through and removed all of the free options of getting my address, or did my best to do so. So it
You
is
would
likely
think
that
mom
she
was
actually
coming to
had
the house
pay
like trying
one
to
of those
harm
people
her.
finder services.
Yeah.
No, your dad, I found the address online except for the apartment number, and then your dad gave me the apartment number. If I
That
go
son of a
anywhere, I have to
bitch.
travel on a bus. There are cameras on buses. There are cameras all over this property. I couldn't get by with anything, even if I was inclined to do something like that, which I'm not. I'm 64. I'm not going to go creeping around stalking people. Never in my life have I done so, and never would I do so now.
Okay, Ms.
Can you
I
turn
guess
your
at this
camera
point,
on?
Ms. Spicey, is there anything else you'd like to add? And I'll give you a chance to offer any rebuttal.
I did talk to my dad afterwards because we had no idea how she had managed to get the apartment number. And he did
Dad
apologize
gave it to
and
her.
say that she had basically
Did Mom
managed
really?
to trick it out of him.
He felt that I
By-
had, he
by
told me
giving-
that he felt
By
I had,
giving, by excuse me,
I'm
by
sorry.
giving her, or by her giving him the incorrect apartment number, and then he basically automatically corrected her and said, no, wait, it's 65. And then immediately went, oh crap. And I am not sure why he didn't tell me, aside from perhaps he was hoping that she would not contact me and did not want to panic me,
I think
because
Dad
he
kinda had
he
an
was aware of
idea.
my PTSD
He was married to
diagnosis
her.
and of course of her behavior over the years.
Shall we talk about him beating on me and going to men evolving non-violently twice?
Sure.
And having it not work, so I left him.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's get into
Well,
that.
let's, if you'd like to, at this point, Ms. Spites, if you'd like to address the petition and what Ms. Spitestein said, you're welcome to do
Yeah,
that.
I would. I'm
She's
still
enjoying a
kind
blue
of shocked because it is true that I didn't remember those horrible messages. And if I had, I have the habit of deleting everything because I have a tendency to send the wrong stuff to the wrong people by accident. So I delete everything immediately so I don't do that, including in my email.
Okay.
So I was not aware of how horrible
We just lied to everyone.
those texts
Yes.
and email messages
Yeah.
were. Now I am, and now I totally understand why she did what she did, and it was the right thing to do. I, at the time, was under incredible stress and had been for years. I experienced things that are like a targeted individual experiences. I do have some friends that understood that was happening to me, and they did see some of the stuff. I tried all my life to hide it from Sylvia and give her a normal life as possible. I recognized that I was emotionally unavailable for the 20 years that I was a target. Whether it was, I lived in gang
A target or
neighborhoods
at
because,
target?
I didn't have a lot of money and they were cheaper. So it could have been gang stalking, but I can't identify these people. And I don't want to try to go into it. You can go to Kathy Meadows' website and click on abuses and find out what it's like to live as a target. They stopped. I don't know why they stopped, but that has stopped, and I'm no longer experiencing that incredible kind of situation. I was foolishly using alcohol to cope, and sometimes it worked and I could go to sleep. And sometimes it didn't. And
she's crazy.
It had a bizarre effect on me. And a few times, obviously, totally blacked out. It's amazing to me.
I'm sorry to stop this. Did she say she had been targeted by like these unknown assailants, basically?
Yes, and then it stopped. So we might be starting to see a little craziness from Mama.
Okay, now we're getting somewhere.
That I could still text and delete in that state, but I seem to have done so. Because I didn't remember, I didn't understand the severity of her response. So I kept sending these messages and trying to find out what was going on
Please stop
because I didn't
messaging me.
understand. If I had seen the copies of these messages, I would have
sure,
totally understood. I would have understood. I would have, this card that I sent her that has created this situation was a request for mediation. I'm having health issues, and I was going to have a colonoscopy. I'm having some heart issues.
I know.
And it made me think about my mortality. And so I wanted to know, I kind of got, Aaron never told me he stopped mediating. He just didn't respond. So I didn't know if he was getting messages or if he was mediating at all. This request with the card I sent was for, it was a request for mediation. It was a request to.
So isn't the daughter even more of a POS a little bit here if the mother really does have like some serious mental issues? We've heard her talk for 2 minutes now and pretty much figure out that obviously there's a screw loose.
Creed, I think the judge said it best when he said, "Mom crazy, check. Kid bitch, check." Yeah, it's boiling down to this kid just doesn't want anything to do with their mom. Their mother suffers from obviously alcoholism. She suffers from thinking she's being targeted and / stalked by these unseen gangs and things like that. So yeah, I'm gonna go just on the record and be honest with you. I really don't want to continue listening to this because this is a circle. There's going to be a circle of a pattern of her saying, I just want to talk to my daughter.
Right.
And the daughter saying, I don't want to have anything to do with my mom. Well, I was just sending her a card because it was her birthday. Your Honor, I don't want to have anything to do with mom. It boils down. She doesn't want anything to do with her mother. Zero. Nothing.
Yeah. I
Dad,
think we're starting to see why.
So if you want to jump to something else so we get to our next harassment case, I'm completely fine with that.
Yeah, I think that's not a bad idea. Listen, any of you that saw Law Talk with Mike, I believe it was yesterday, we were introduced to this judge and had some craziness happening, but they are live, or was? Nope, that's just a video.
Once was live.
I thought she was live.
By the way, this is the point where I take a minute. Thank everybody for being here. I've seen almost 100 of you moving in and out during this time. Please like this. We do this 5 days a week. We cover basically jump from courtroom to courtroom here in the great nation we live in, which is the U.S. of A's. Harassment.
Wait.
It comes in all shapes and forms, Creed.
What is this thing doing?
But the mom was definitely crazy as hell.
Yeah, the mom.
And the daughter was just being bitchy about it. She just doesn't want to deal with it.
I think I deal with it differently than taking her to court, but that's just me. Judge Taylor and felony first appearance calendar.
Are the judge and Mr. Drew here look like mother and son?
Set the bond at $1,500.
Yeah, I can see that.
1,500, you say?
I say $5.
And on the heroin charge at $1,500.
That one was a bit too
So that
much.
total bond will be
It was a bit much,
$5,500.
Creed. That was $5, bud. Oh, you mean that? Oh, yeah, that too.
And we'll reserve his right to his probable cause hearing. All right, and there's nothing you have to sign, sir.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
Good to see you.
Mike, I'm going to leave you here with them for just a minute. You're in good hands. I'm going to run out and check the traffic and weather together.
Right, then the next person is going to be Miss
Got a pretty
Chapman.
full room here. There's a lot of people here today.
All right, good afternoon, Miss. Oh,
You
you know
miss
what? I forgot that.
craziness is what you miss.
Co-defendants. Okay, that's all right. We'll come back. All right, good afternoon, Miss Chapman. You are charged in case number 21-074082 with one count of theft by conversion. Your attorneys had a chance to go over those charges with you, so I'm going to hear from him and the state about
By
your positions on
conversion?
your bond.
How does that even work?
Thank you, Judge. Ms. Chapman has been in Georgia for the last 2 years. She has made Atlanta her home here with her boyfriend. She is 24 years old and she doesn't have any criminal history whatsoever that's been provided to from the state. So I'm
Maybe.
really asking for a UJR.
I think it's mixed.
She does work for State Farm Insurance. She's a claims processor. Does have 2 years of college education. And she does deny these charges. And there is some specificity to her denial that isn't really for today, but she does have a viable defense. There does seem to be like some confusion.
She probably just been apprehended.
Things of that nature. And I've discussed with her, and she is certainly going to come back to court when it's appropriate to really flesh out that evidence that she already has.
Good to
been
see you,
able
Ghost.
establish to me. So, and I did speak with her family, and they do have some documentation that's going to help her in her defense. And so, but more importantly, if she has no criminal history, she's made Atlanta her home. We would ask for a UJR.
They're using that beautiful filter to make you look nice. Takes out the wrinkles.
Thank you, Judge. As Mr. Niner mentioned, the defendant has no criminal history that we were able to pull. And based on the facts alleged in the warrant, as we have not been
Thank
able
you.
to contact with the victim in this
Everybody welcome
case,
Kathy.
the $2,000 bond.
All right, well, based on her lack of criminal history and the facts and circumstances of her arrest, I do think that a UJR is appropriate. So we'll be giving you a signature bond, Ms. Chapman.
Version is
in touch with your attorney and you can change
rental
the address and choose
failed to return to its owner.
so that you get notice of any court dates. We're also going to have you go ahead and sign the waiver.
I wonder what she rented. She rented a VCR from Blockbuster and never returned it. I wonder if it was like a probably not a car. That's probably too big. Judge is using a very
Okay,
bad
the
camera.
next person is going to be Mr. Collins.
Mr. Collins, Mr. Barnabas Collins. Where is he at? Here he comes. No hurry.
All right, then. Good afternoon, Mr. Collins. You are charged in case number 22-021470, charging you with one count of criminal trespass, damage to property, one count of aggravated assault with intent to murder, one count of theft by taking a firearm, and one misdemeanor theft by taking. Your
Now we're
attorney's
talking.
gone over all of those charges with you, so I'm going to hear from him and the state about their positions on your bond.
Mr. Collins.
Good luck with this one, Drew.
Georgia. He's 25 years old and been in Georgia for 23, so essentially his entire life. He lives here with his mom and dad. He does not have a criminal history. Your Honor, I do understand these are serious allegations against him.
They sound serious.
And they're allegations that he does deny. They're out of his character. He has no criminal history. It's completely unfounded. What he was charged with based on his history up until this point. So we are asking for you to set a bond in this case, a reasonable one at that. He does work for a communications company, doesn't pay quite very high. He has a college degree, however, from Morehouse. And so he does have prospects on the horizon to help him. He's still such a young man, he's still getting his footing, that he can't afford a high bond right now. And so really any bond is going to be too high for him. We obviously cannot get a UJR, and I understand if the court would not be inclined to UJR. However, he does have a criminal history. As it stands right now, he is presumed innocent of these charges. Just exercise that
Cubs jersey.
I'll always enjoy, Creed, that these public defenders have to come up with something good to say about these guys.
I just missed the fact that he's a single mom.
No, I mean, that was the biggest one.
That still for him is not going to be able to pay it, quite frankly. So we're just asking for you to set a bond in this case. Due to his age.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Strong denial and presumption of innocence.
Take it away.
And the state's position.
Thank you, Judge. The state would be opposed to bond in this case. Mr. Niner is correct that we do not show any criminal history. Our office has made an attempt to make contact with the victim, but we're unsuccessful. However, considering the level of violence in this case, the state believes that the defendant is a threat not only to that particular victim's safety, but to the community as a whole. As alleged in the warrants, this is not simply an injury for the sake of taking the belongings, but a very high level of violence. It should Your Honor, the state is vehemently opposed to bond, but should Your Honor be inclined to grant bond, we do request that it be amount of $25,000 and a stay away.
Again, I always feel like when I hear $25,000,
Right,
not that much.
The facts and circumstances of this case are obviously concerning, and yes, he is absolutely presumed innocent. Part of my concern is that it looks like this may have been, I don't know what the police report says, I just know what the warrants say, and it looks like this may have actually wound up to be an armed robbery, which would have been Superior Court only anyway. I'm a little confused about what the allegation is with the pointing of the gun and the taking of the cell phone. And so I think that this is the kind of case that needs a full bond hearing. So I'm going to deny bond at this time. I do find the fact that he lives upstairs from the victim. I just don't find that there are
that, Drew.
into place that would make me comfortable setting a bond.
It's always good when Drew comes out with his first thing to tell you about this great guy is he's 25 years old.
You can't get a bond. It just means that your attorney's going to file a motion for bond in Superior Court, and that judge can have a full hearing on the case, which I think is.
Did you see when Mikey and her both took a drink at the same time, and for some reason her drink is completely
blurred?
I mean, yeah, if you screen cap that, it looks like she has something else in her mouth.
Mr.
Because it's like blurred out.
Also speak English?
Do you speak the English?
That's
I had a feeling he wasn't going to get out, but that was just a feeling.
okay. And I'm so sorry. I forgot that we had another attorney case. Position number 10. I'm so sorry.
She keeps forgetting everything.
It's Friday, and she went out and had a drinky poo last night, maybe.
It was St. Patty's Day.
Let me go ahead and take position number 10, Mr. Dudley.
Let's do Mr. Dudley.
In the 10 position.
In the 10 position, we'll jump over to the Honorable Cedric.
Are we?
Yeah, it's not the best.
All
audio
right.
system.
We
have you had an opportunity to go over the charges with your client?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Do you waive me reading them to him?
Your Honor, I do waive.
All right. Then let me just call his case. That is Mr. Dudley. You are here on case number DW 22001527, charging you with 1 count of possession of a Schedule II controlled substance and 1 count of possession of a fraudulent identity document. And your attorney's gone over those charges with you, so I'm going to hear from her and the state about their positions on your bond. Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, he's not a library. He has no intention of lying to jurisdiction.
Potted it up, dude.
He's a
long resident of Georgia,
Drinking.
is 28 years old, and his parents both they live in Atlanta, and they have provided support for him. And he owns a house here in Atlanta, and he just started his own business. And he never had criminal history, so he never had the prior criminal convictions. And he's not a violent person either.
What do you mean?
Your Honor, yes, he's not violent at all. I don't know if you heard. He's a good guy.
So good.
Your Honor, if I may approach the microphone.
All right. And what's the state's position?
Thank you, Judge. The defendant does only have one cycle, but no convictions. I show that as a 2019 time expired case. The state's recommendation was also a $2,000 bond, so we can consent to that amount.
All right. I think given all the facts and circumstances, that is appropriate. I will set bond in the amount of $1,000 per charge. So the total bond will be $2,000. And based on that, does he wish to waive his right to his probable cause hearing since he'll be out on bond?
Sure.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. We'll just have him sign the waiver and we'll get that started.
I didn't know they were in a bottomless canyon.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Corbett Canyon.
Have a good day. Have a good weekend.
Canyon.
Judge Simpson over here hearing
Dismissed on plaintiff's motion without prejudice.
Sarah Lee.
River Drive
Nobody
Apartments
doesn't like Sarah Lee.
versus Tamia Scott. That matter is also dismissed on plaintiff's motion without.
Just
Do or not.
Number One Apartments versus Jason
Landlord,
Milhorn
landlord-tenant matters, as they say.
and Alan Sylvester.
Look how angry this guy looks right here.
Either of those parties present.
Judge, good morning, Rob. I'm sorry. Good afternoon, Robert Novak, on behalf of
Hey, look how young the one person in the right looks.
And
Jalen.
Mr. Lee, they are not
Like a
here.
little kid.
Milhorn was here.
Milhorn is here.
Is he? Where is he? Mr. Milhorn?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Now I can hear you. All right, very good. Mr. Milhorn, have you applied for Sarah funding?
Yes, I have.
All right, Miss Lee, can we verify that?
Yes, I can confirm that, Your Honor.
It's a Sarah
Confirmed,
case
not
that was
denied.
subject to the stay of the Michigan Supreme Court. This matter will adjourn April 29th, 2022, 9
That's the only
a.m.
problem with a lot of these
right, thank you,
landlord
Your Honor.
cases. A lot of
Thank
them. God bless. Adjournments.
Number One Apartments versus Saran Camara.
I'm here.
I would hate to have
All
to
right,
say
you're
these
here.
names. I
Have
would
you applied for
destroy
Sarah
them.
funding?
No kidding. I
Yes,
know.
I have.
Is that correct, Miss Lee?
Yes, she's in the system, Your Honor.
This is
Oh.
Sarah case
Well,
subject
hello,
to the stay of the
Daryl.
Michigan Supreme Court.
Please don't get up.
This will adjourn out April 29th, 2022, 9 a.m.
Thank you.
Thank you. Arbor One versus Roderick Schaefer.
Is Daryl like flexing because he got new shelves up there?
Roderick Schaefer,
The box?
they are not here.
I mean, those are
Yes.
nice.
This is service by posting, so this matter will adjourn to March 25th.
We'll come right back to this adjournment fun, but I just wanted to show you Cynthia is in the middle of a blizzard, but still showed up to court.
I mean, good for her.
Is that correct, sir?
Some of the very
You're
sketchiest
aware that the underlying conviction here involves
attorneys
possession
and
of
court
a
reporters.
controlled substance analog, which is a maximum of 2 years in prison. Is
Not
that right?
digital, analog.
Well, that's good.
My
That's
original
just
charge.
one.
That's right.
How big is that TV behind
That's
that
what you
lady?
were on
Is that a
probation
fake?
for, and that's where the rules came. So, okay.
Is that a
let's go ahead
fake
and-
background and she's blurted out?
Please raise your right hand.
Either
Swear
that
to
or she has
God,
a home
affirm
theater.
the testimony you're about to provide will be the truth, the whole truth.
I mean,
and nothing
that's-
but the truth, so help you God.
And
Yes.
what's with Jacob?
Now,
He
you read and
looks
understand the English
he's up to
language,
something.
correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
You can hear and understand me now. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Grab
Pretty
is your
much.
attorney, and you've had a chance to discuss with him the charges that have been filed against you and any possible defenses that you might have, correct?
Cynthia's
Yes, sir.
freezing to
And you are
death.
satisfied with his advice, true?
Yes, sir.
All right. Have you had any drugs, alcohol, or substances that might affect your judgment in the last 24 hours?
No, Your Honor.
You understand that at each and every phase of this process, you have the right to your own lawyer, and if you can't afford
Oh, they
one,
do, but
one would be appointed for you at the public's expense.
I mean, that's like 12 of her heads big.
You understand that you've got the right to have a hearing. We would conduct it today with regard to all 8 of these
Court
counts.
reporters make
And at that
cash.
hearing, the department would
Middle of
present
a damn
evidence,
blizzard.
documents, witnesses, exhibits, as to why they think that you violated your probation. You'd have the right to present a defense.
Still can't
call
pronounce it.
witnesses. I would order any witnesses that you needed to appear.
I'll never get it.
Do so. At the end of that hearing, I would make a decision based on a preponderance of the evidence standard. That's a tipping of the scales, 50% plus a little bit. If I thought they met their burden, I would find you guilty. If I thought they did not meet their burden, I would find you not guilty. And as I said, that hearing would be conducted today. You understand your right to a hearing?
I do.
Let's do it
I
now.
understand that if I accept your pleas today, that any appeal from the convictions or sentences will be by leave and not by right. That means you'll have to ask permission to appeal. Do you understand?
Maybe.
Yes, Your Honor.
Has anything been promised to you? Have you been threatened or coerced in any way to get you to plead guilty today?
Yes. I mean, no.
Are either the department or Mr. Graff aware of any promises, threats, or inducements that are not part of the record?
By the way, Creed, that same harassment thing is
No,
going
Your
on
Honor.
right now. Still.
Sir, is it your own free
thank
choice
God
to plead guilty today?
that was a rabbit hole we
Yes,
didn't
Your Honor.
need.
And are you doing so because you are guilty?
Yes, Your Honor.
Well, let's take a look at the warrant that was issued, and it came in 2 parts. You are aware that you were on probation for possession of controlled substance analogs, a 2-year felony. Is that right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Oh, like
And
catfish.
condition 2.4,
okay.
that you're not to
Got it.
use any controlled substance. The allegation in count 1 is that on October 26th of 2021,
Halloween
you
party.
used or possessed methamphetamine. Is
Oh,
that
Hell
right?
yeah, don't we all over Halloween?
Yes, sir.
I mean, that's just
So
like a,
was there methamphetamine in your possession?
no.
I was in my system.
Oh, okay. So you used it. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
And the use wasn't accidental. You knew it was methamphetamine, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
And with regard to count 2, there's a
I want
requirement that you report
lots
to
and lots
your,
of books.
Field agent on
Yes.
certain dates.
His office
You're
smells of
alleging
old
that
books
on
and mold.
November 2nd of 2021 and November 16th of 2021, you failed to report to your probation officer as you were instructed to do. You were aware that you had to report as your probation officer required. Is that right?
I was high, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor.
So,
It was
And
in
you
me.
were aware that you were supposed to report on November 12th and November 16th of 2021, correct?
Yes, sir.
speaking of the
And you were
paneling, look
down
at that
those days.
weird ass
No,
picture of Art or
And in
whatever he
count
has up
3,
too.
the
It's
allegation is that you
awesome.
changed
Looks
your
like the Grim
residence
Reaper.
without notifying or getting the permission of your field agent. They're alleging that occurred on November 4th of 2021. Is that true?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yes, sir.
And they're also alleging in count 4 that you violated Michigan law by driving without a valid driver's license on November 13th of 2021. Is that true?
Yes, Your Honor.
So you were behind the wheel of an automobile out on the highway and you didn't have a license. Is that right?
That is correct.
Is that true? I didn't know that. The Irish
Just a
alphabetically
moment,
has
let me
20
get to
letters.
The next set here.
That's a more you know thing. You know.
And as to count 5, the allegation is that you violated Michigan law again on or about February 24th of 2022 by using or possessing amphetamine. Is that true?
Yes, upon being incarcerated, I took a urine screen.
All right. So that was in your system. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, Your Honor.
And it wasn't there by accident. Is that right?
I scored while I was in jail,
Same
Your Honor.
thing with regard to count 6, that urine screen on the 24th of February when you were incarcerated showed MDMA in your system. Is that accurate?
Oh my God.
Yep, that's what yes, it was.
Party time.
This guy's
sure.
a good
That is exactly how to get in there, but
I believe is that ecstasy, Ms. Patrick?
Yes, Your Honor.
It's been a while for me.
So there was ecstasy in your system, Mr. Davenport.
What else do you guys
Does that
do
sound
around
all right with
Halloween?
you?
God.
He's like, I haven't used
and it
lately.
was under a cut of the methamphetamine that I took. Like I don't know if it was added to it or whatnot. The intention was to not go buy ecstasy, but yeah, It
All
was,
right.
I got a
But it
shitty
doesn't
dealer,
surprise you
Your
that it
Honor.
was in your system, is that right?
no, sir.
And it wasn't there by accident. It was the
Is
result
that-
of something that you took
is that
voluntarily,
Jesus?
correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Are you
And
sure?
with regard to count 7, they're also alleging that in this same episode, acting on 2/24 of 22 showed the presence of THC. Is that accurate?
Absolutely.
And you know that to be marijuana, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. So
That's
that
that's
was
the
number
pot,
next
right,
on the
Mary?
meeting,
No, Your Honor.
And lastly, with regard to count 8, and you've already discussed this, that same test showed the presence of methamphetamine. Is that true?
Yes, Your Honor.
And
So he's pleading guilty to all
methamphetamine
this?
was in your system,
Yeah.
correct?
Yes, sir.
And that wasn't an accident. That was your choice to use that substance.
Well,
correct?
don't go see a doctor that's on that. I mean,
All right, Mr. Graff, any questions regarding a
I wouldn't
factual
trust them.
basis?
No, thank you, Your Honor.
Oh,
All
I
right,
think he just
Ms.
spit out
Graff, any
every
questions regarding a
everything
factual
pretty good.
basis?
No, Your Honor.
Do the parties believe the court is
Scott's pretty proud of himself.
302?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor. Your Honor, I guess just, I apologize, maybe to clean up the plea, let's just make sure. Mr. Davenport, you didn't have a prescription or a valid reason to have any of those substances in your system, correct?
No, sir.
I did have a
Sorry, Your Honor, thank you.
Mr. Graff, thank
doctor's
you.
note.
All right, sir, it's now up to you.
Hey, Bronze, happy
Mr.
Friday.
Grant,
Cheers.
As to count 1, that you violated condition 2.4 by possessing methamphetamine on October 26th of 2021. How do you plead?
Is it being in my system considered possession? Is that what-
Remember, I said possession, but I meant use because you indicated use.
Yes, sir. Yes.
All right. So what is your plea?
Guilty.
As to count 2, that you violated condition 3 and condition 4.22 by failing to report to your probation officer as instructed on 11/12.
He's
and
gonna get a lot, I
11/16 of
think.
2021. How do you plead?
Guilty.
As to count 3, that you violated condition 4.3 of your probation by
Well,
changing your
probation's gonna be
residence and not
revoked.
reporting it
Yeah.
or getting the permission of your field agent on or about November 4th of 2021. How do you plead?
Guilty.
As to count 4, that you
Some
violated
judges really have their
condition
stuff
1 by
together, don't they?
violating
Like this,
condition
you know what I
4
mean?
Driving
Yeah.
without a valid driver's
You
license
see so
on
many of
or
them
about
just
November
fumbling
13th,
papers and just
2021. How
this
do you
guy's
plead?
just
Guilty.
Like a machine.
As to count
Creed.
5, that you violated condition 2.4 by using or possessing amphetamine in your system on February 24th of 2022. How do you plead?
Guilty.
As to count 6, same charge, but MDMA, ecstasy. How do you plead?
Guilty.
As to count 7, same charge, but marijuana, THC. How do you plead?
Guilty.
And count 8, same charge, same date, except methamphetamine this time. How do you plead?
Guilty.
Guilty.
Well, based on our discussion, it's clear to me that you understand your right to counsel. You understand your right to
Can
a
we give
hearing.
him some help,
And it's also
baby?
clear to me that you
might
violated
need
your
to see
probation
somebody.
on these dates and in the manner that we've discussed. So I'm going to accept your pleas. I think they were knowingly, intelligently, voluntarily, and understandingly given. Now, the next step in the process is for me to get an update from the department about you. I'll use that to make a good decision regarding sentencing. You'll get a chance to review it, and when you do, you'll talk with your attorney about it. We'll have a discussion about it here at sentencing, and I'm going to set the sentencing in this matter for April 14th.
Of course.
Is there anything else that we can address today, Mr. Graff?
No, thank you, Your Honor.
Is there
And
any
for the
chance for
department?
a Yeti to walk
Your Honor,
past
thank you.
Cynthia?
Okay, Mr. Davenport, we will see you April
Jeez.
14th.
Thank you. You guys have a good afternoon.
And the dude is not an idiot.
Thank you, Your Honor.
No, he
Take
seems
care,
to have it
Mr.
pretty together.
You too.
He wears
Yeah,
glasses.
I mean, Matthew, I'd hire Matthew. Look at him. Look at those books. Come on now.
That
All right,
is
we can
a
get Mr.
lawyer.
Shadden, please.
Mr. Shadden, well, we got to jump over. What do we got here?
Good afternoon, Your
Great.
Honor.
You remember this spot
Sir,
we were at
cash
last
entry
week?
bond,
Heck yeah.
$2,500, cash surety or 10%.
Stand up, dude.
Do you have any questions about
He's a
anything
stand-up
that
kind
I've
of
said
guy.
today?
May I talk?
Sure.
Do you have any questions, sir? That's what I'm asking.
Yes, sir. When you say 2,500, does that mean like 10%? Like, I'm not sure.
Hi, Alice.
Hello, Alice.
I have to pay $2,500?
Mr. Carjo,
Mr. Carjo, you were given a $2,500 cash surety of 10%. So if you paid 10% of that, then you could get out of jail.
How much is that? That's what I want to know.
$250. $25. Oh, man,
Okay, thank you, Your Honor, for giving me this chance, and I will not let you down. I will not get in no trouble.
Mr. Rolando, anything else that you need?
No, sir.
Okay.
He ain't having it. He's like, yeah, whatever. You
Uh-oh.
some bitches.
Internet problems.
Or they're leaving, which would be even worse than internet problems.
In that matter, the basis.
Did the other guy just walk out there and shave his head and come back in?
Complaint. I would ask, Your Honor, if we could adjourn this until such time as I can resolve the district court matter. It shouldn't take too long, Your Honor, but I don't want to discuss the facts here today for a pending matter in district court.
All right, so the subject matter here is germane to the new criminal charges. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes, Your Honor, that's correct.
Okay. In which case, what I'll do is adjourn this matter today. I'll go ahead and set it for May 6th. That should give the parties enough time. Mr. Connolly knows that if for some reason the underlying matter isn't resolved, he can certainly let us know and we'll push this case out. Mr. Shadden, you wanted to speak to Mr. Connolly?
When I spoke with Amanda Flynn, Miss Flynn, my probation agent, she said she was not opposed to letting me go to treatment from here, if that was okay with you, Your Honor. Like letting me out pending a open bed and treatment.
All right.
No,
We
it's
are about to discuss bond, but I think we've got the underlying matter with regard to the adjournment here resolved. Mr. Connolly, is there anything else that we can discuss today?
We're about to go to the
Mr. Shadden just brought it up, Your Honor.
best judge
we had
hair
spoken about
ever.
that the other day that you
I'm
spoke to Ms.
ready.
Flynn about a potential for entry into inpatient treatment. I advised them I would ask, Your Honor, if that was a possibility. Certainly, we're not asking for him to be released into intensive outpatient.
Wow. We.
Creed, welcome to Preston's courtroom.
Wow.
When you're in the presence of Preston, you're in the presence of excellence. And yeah, I guess we're doing some in person.
And then does, I guess, hold on. Have your children, your stepchildren, and the child Cadden at home? Have they ever had a relationship with your other children, with Bartel?
Yeah.
Ms. Bartel?
Not with Miss Bartel, with the girls have had a relationship.
Yeah, that's what I
Like,
meant,
yeah,
sorry.
no, I got you. Yeah, they always got along very well. I mean, kids are kids at times, but no, it never really been an issue whatsoever with them.
Okay. How did the children get along? How did Maya McKenna get along with your wife?
Is this his first day at work?
I'm kind of blown away
He's
with
filling in.
all that I hear now on it. My wife goes above and beyond out of the way for him. Making sure Christmas happens, birthdays happened.
Look at this. I
Especially in
love
the
the
beginning when we first
box.
started
He's in like in a penalty box in a hockey game.
Yeah.
She's never been
Or at a convenience store after midnight in the hood.
aggressive towards them or anything in that manner. I kind of looked at
what
when they would go home, from what I would get back as feedback from Cassandra compared to what, I
It looks
had
like
seen the entire time
a
that
dad
they were over
against
at the
a
house. It was
grandmother.
Kids playing both sides.
I don't think that's his
of
wife right there.
Which parent am I with right now? How can I make this one happy? How can I make that one happy? Yeah.
Judge, that camera angle's doing you no favors.
Boy, it's a bad camera angle.
Has CPS ever been involved with your home?
No.
Were they ever involved between you and Miss Bartel at any point?
When we did foster, we had CPS do visits on.
Judge Preston was like he could be friends with Cobra.
Other than that, offhand, I really don't think that there have been any issues.
You got Judge Preston, then you got the dad over here that looks like, the stud of them all.
Paul, you're right. Looks like you're walking into the DMV.
Let's see. He's warm.
Court moves slowly here.
At a snail's
Diabetes.
pace. Judge Preston is about to rule.
Chewing gum?
Believe that Ms. Bartel has any kind of drug or alcohol problem? No, you mentioned that you admitted that you have one. Do you have any reason to think she might have one?
Oh, you come in and admit it. I got a drug problem.
I don't know. I'm never around her, so I really have no.
Click on
grounds to
that so
say
that little
unless she
line
does or
goes
does not.
away.
It won't.
Yeah,
I've
click your volume.
Do you have any concerns with her? How
There
the
you go.
children are treated?
Click it.
Um,
Move your mouse.
Other than
It's
the
attached.
incident they had had,
Mike.
I tried to click this son of a bitch off a while ago.
Let me show you. Go like this,
$32, Your
and then
Honor?
click and move.
Yes. So it should be.
There, I fixed it. You happy?
Yes. Thank you.
Judge Preston is not impressed.
I love his hair, but he's boring me.
He's terrible.
Judges
Terrible
will
judge to
find
watch.
offenders by default for possession, redemption amount.
So there's a couple of
amount
adjournments
requested.
real
The court
quick.
Will also enter one judgment on its presentation in the amount requested.
One thing Judge Preston
We'll
does
let
do,
you in 10
he
days.
looks right into the camera every once in a while.
Thank you, sir.
Low credit rents is eating lunch, by the way.
Court calls the case of Group 5 Management versus Alicio Beltran. Not checked in.
Not checked in.
Good morning, Your Honor. I'm Chad on behalf of Group 5 Management. I am standing in for Attorney of Record Robert Weiss. Your
Mr.
Honor,
Here don't care.
Mr. Beltran's case.
All right, that case is dismissed on plaintiff's
Group
motion.
5 management has a C word outbreak
you.
apparently in their office.
You're welcome. Court calls the case of
Everybody's working
Five
from home.
Management versus Thomas Hornberger.
What a great last name.
Also not
Hornberger.
checked in.
Hornberger.
You do
We
have
fight to
personal
the very
service.
end,
Ms.
Ghost.
Lee, is there a Sarah application?
We all lose.
Oh, Sarah Lee.
They're not in the system, Your Honor.
They are not. Would you like to take a default?
Yes, Your Honor, please.
Raise your right hand.
Let's do it.
You
Take the
solemnly
default.
swear or affirm testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes, Your Honor.
A W's a W.
What's your plan?
Am I right?
Yeah.
Your Honor, for
Some
the
shit?
record
Is that her name?
possession, Mr. Hornberger owes $1,005. Court cost the amount of $197 for a total redemptive amount of $1,202. We're asking for a writ to issue into the case that is not paid, please.
I thought
Judgment to the plaintiff. That is by default for possession, redemption amount in the amount requested, writ issue in 10 days.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Red Line Apartments versus Keon Kidd.
I haven't had one in days, Nathan. Days, I tell you.
Keon Kidd, they have not checked in. Their service by posting. This adjourns to March 25th, 2022, 9 a.m.
Your Honor, there is a Sarah application on this.
I'd say Mr.
There is
Willis.
already a Sarah application.
Uh-huh.
Do you have one?
He has a nice collection of
Yes, I
papers
can
behind him,
confirm
though.
that, Your Honor.
Then I will make that subject to the stay. Make it April 29th, 2022, 9 a.m. Red Line Apartments versus John Houston.
Adjourned.
Bunch of adjournments.
Not check in.
Yeah.
I do have personal service. Miss Lee, is there a Sarah application?
They're not in the system, Your Honor.
Yeah, ain't nothing happening here
Make
today
this-
over at
You
Cedric
have
Citizens
previous
Court.
students sworn. You may go ahead.
No.
That was a long time ago. I can't remember.
Yeah.
the part. Your Honor, in this case, there's rent owing in the amount of $754, court costs of $160 for a total of $914. We'd ask for a judgment for possession with a writ after 10 days if that amount remains unpaid.
Judgment to the plaintiff by default for possession, redemption amount in the amount requested with the writ to issue in 10 days, and I've signed your judgment. Court calls the case, Red Line Apartments versus Hosea Willis.
Hosea.
Hello, Your Honor. How are you?
Jose.
I'm doing well. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well.
All
Your
right.
Honor, there is a recertification with Autumn in this case, so.
So
Those don't
there's
work for
Sarah
UPS.
application. Sarah case, subject to the stay of the Michigan Supreme Court. This will be adjourned out to April 29th, 2022, 9 a.m.
Do
All
you
right,
have
sir.
anything we can
All right,
jump?
thank you, Your
to?
Honor.
Dude, I'm
Thank
going
you.
through every courtroom right
Is
now.
there not much happening?
For cause case.
Is it
red line
lunchtime for
versus
everybody on a
cause-
Friday?
Yeah, I've got this girl sitting waiting for the judge to come home.
Hello,
Thomas is a big fan of Marvel.
Have you applied? Have you applied for Sarah funding?
Yes.
Did you get permission to put that post on the wall? Because that means holes in the wall.
Your Honor, if he's got a recertification. I think it's already been approved, so I think we're in good shape on this one.
So Sarah case, subject to the stay of the Michigan Supreme Court.
And I apologize for interrupting.
Your Honor, Judge
Will
Paul
adjourn out April 29th, 2022, 9 a.m.
is in the
Ghost. Yeah, I think so.
Thank you.
I think so.
Is that it for you, Mr. Fantera?
That's it for
We're
us.
before the court
Lord.
today asking the court to consider
Ghost.
a temporary release for Miss Carroll, followed by a furlough to treatment. She has been
Carol,
evaluated in
Mom?
jail for both mental health treatment and substance abuse treatment. I spoke with her substance abuse evaluator 3 days ago, and she indicated to me that she would have a bed date forthcoming, and that she is eligible and in need of intensive inpatient treatment. Ms. Carroll has an offer on the table in her criminal case. However, as laid out in my brief, she has a very important date coming up. It's the anniversary of her father's death, which was triggering for her relapse this time, which led to these.
We hear that a
matters.
lot.
So
Mhm.
she is hoping that the court will consider allowing her to do treatment before she accepts that offer and serves her time. It would in fact be a prison-based DOSA. However, with processing at Purdy, she would not be in treatment by the time this anniversary comes up.
I say
She is
DOSA.
aware that she would have access to drugs in prison and doesn't wish to fall into that as a result of her. She's clearly emotional now, her depression and how that centers around her father's death.
I
If
don't
the
think
court
she
is
did
not willing
anything.
to
She
do
doesn't
that,
even
we
have
would ask
arms.
the court to consider lowering her bail to $10,000. That is an amount which she may be able to make in order to accomplish these goals herself. She is very committed to her
Oh,
sobriety.
never mind.
We've had many, many conversations about it. This instance, she was clearly, from the police reports, under the influence of not very
drugs?
pleasant gentlemen in the community. There were some threatening text messages on her phone. She understands the need to stay away from those people. The 1 week TR would simply.
Let me ask you a question.
Paw.
I'm
Judge
I'm
Paul
supportive of
side.
what you're telling me, but I want to
That's
get
like good for a second. I'll be here.
when is the event regarding her father? When and where?
I believe, and Miss Carroll can correct me if I'm wrong, I believe the anniversary of her father's death is mid-April, April 17th.
Is that something
18th?
people celebrate?
17th.
And-
And birthday's April 29th.
And where is there an event planned for that where family and friends are going to get together?
No, she's just hoping not to be in Purdy and processing for that event and not having access to treatment, because she is concerned that that event will trigger a relapse for her, even in prison.
That was my concern. So what is it exactly you're asking me to do as it pertains to that anniversary date?
Yeah,
Well, Your Honor, I'm anticipating that we will have a bed date soon where she will be in intensive inpatient treatment, not able to leave on that date. What I'm asking the court to do is to, once we have that date, sign an order giving her a temporary release approximately a week before her bed date, not the anniversary date, her bed
Thank
date,
you, Vicky.
to get her house. And she inherited a house from her father. And then go to the bed date, which would be a furlough. At the end of treatment, she will return to the Grays Harbor County Jail.
At the end of her treatment?
Yes.
Right. Is there anyone from her family who is willing and able to supervise her during this week where you're asking that she be released prior to her bed date?
Yes, Your Honor. Her mother, who is present in the courtroom, is willing to do that. I knew that would be a concern for Your Honor. She also has And I put his name in the brief. Ruben, a clean and sober person who's married, and his wife is also her friend, who would assure her sobriety and check in with the court if need
What a
be
great
if there's
story
any
that
sort
was,
of
huh?
problem during that week. So we have double coverage.
Okay. Ms. Carroll, are you aware of, has anyone informed you, Ms. Rivas, or anyone else that
She's
if
living the good
you,
life. She'll have it sold before you
relapse
know it.
during this week that you're out, that is highly likely the treatment center will not accept you?
Right. Well, and like it will go against all my stuff with you guys too.
It will. There'll be a lot of consequences to you relapsing, and I just I don't want you. I don't want to do something that's going to make you fail in your efforts here. I typically keep people in custody if at all possible, right up to the day they get on the bus to go to treatment. But I understand the why you would like to be out before you go to treatment. And if your mother is willing to help you get through that week, and you have another clean and sober person who's willing to support you during that week, I will allow that to be done. So we just need a bed date is all now, right? You're muted, Ms. Rivas.
Correct, Your Honor, and I don't have that bed date yet, but I'm anticipating it will be coming. I was hoping that once we get it, I could simply submit an order.
Okay, Mr. Grip, do you want to be heard on this?
Yes, Your Honor. First off, the state concedes that the law that is cited by Ms. Rivas in her brief is absolutely correct and on point.
On point.
However, there are a couple of issues I would like to raise. First and foremost, throughout the brief, it is stated that Ms. Carroll has issues with substance abuse and mental health that are left untreated. The state certainly understands that, agrees, and is empathetic to that, and is reflected in the DOSA recommendation in the plea agreement that we have put forward. However, where I fail to make the connection here is twofold. One, it is certainly the case that narcotics exist in prisons, but I'm not entirely sure that in the confinement of a prison with at least some oversight and effort to stop the influx of narcotics, that Miss Carroll will be exposed to more narcotics in prison than she would in the outside world. And secondly,
there's more drugs
Court
in
Rule
prison than there
3.2
are on the outside.
allows for the
right?
consideration of the accused criminal record, the nature of their current charge, and their mental condition. I've seen nothing in the record that shows that Miss Carroll has had her mental condition treated at this point.
Like she's at
Her
attention.
criminal record reflects not that she was somebody who had previously been just in possession of narcotics, but had sold narcotics. And this is another instance where she's accused of selling narcotics. It's one thing to have a substance abuse issue and treat your underlying mental illness with illegal substances.
However,
it's an
Your
entirely
Honor.
other leap to get to selling those narcotics to another person. And I'm not sure how that is being addressed in the course of a release.
She was dealing, Creed.
So she's saying she doesn't want to stay in because of the amount of drugs in prison or jail, right?
A plea
But she's got somebody that will help her. That's pretty interesting. I'd be surprised.
Yeah.
Yes, after evaluation.
And let her go stay with her mom.
Prison-based DOSA. So there is an aspect
But
of that that is.
if she uses just
ensures
a little bit while
confinement.
she's out, the whole deal's off. She loses that bed, baby.
I will tell you that over the years on the bench, I have, as a general rule, not granted doses to people who were engaged in the business of selling drugs.
She has somebody
There are lots
that wants
of
to help her,
defendants
right?
Her mom,
who are addicted to controlled substances, who sell drugs.
Well, that's
to fund their own use.
I mean, she does have an
they're
LLC.
Relatively small scale dealers, so to speak. I think that's a different situation, and I don't know where Miss Carroll falls on the continuum
That's why
being,
it's so much more
dealing no
expensive.
drugs up all the way up to that being her primary occupation.
Where does she
you probably know
fall
more than I
between
do about it.
Scarface and low-level drug lord?
Yes, so, there is a requirement in 994A, I believe it's 660, about the DOSA requirements. And one of those requirements is that the amount in question of the current charge is a small amount of drugs. And after my research and pulling some case law, I think that we could adequately say that the amount in question in this particular instance was not large, and or there were mitigating circumstances because of persons who she is has contact with in the community.
We've seen Grip
That
quite
does
a few
not take
times.
away
I
the
gotta
fact
say,
that she
he does
have a
fight for you.
prior,
Yeah,
through
he
3
does.
prior counts of UXA conviction as well.
And
I
here's the
understand.
thing.
I've
Apparently,
seen
she
him
was hanging
before
out
me
with some
before,
really
but,
bad,
I don't
well-known
want to
bad
sound
people.
crude, but I think it's fair to say that Miss Carroll's life is a dumpster fire right now, and has been for several years. And
Wow.
maybe this prison-based DOSA or the treatment program she's
Judge
going to
coming
go
in hot.
into here soon,
Speaking dumb
coupled with
truths.
the mental health treatment, when she comes back, her case has to be resolved. And if it's resolved with a plea of guilty or a finding of guilty, I would in all likelihood order a mental health evaluation and treatment. Or she may come back from her substance abuse treatment, and you guys might put together a plea deal for her to enter the mental health diversion program. I mean, I'm just speculating here, but
Spitballing, are
just
you, Judge?
because she's going to a substance abuse treatment program now doesn't foreclose the opportunity
That one guy
for the
with-
court
he
to
wants me to
direct her
speed it
into
up.
mental health treatment later.
First floor?
Yeah,
Understood, thank
he's
you.
like, can we get this
Okay.
going or what?
All right.
I got places to be.
So, Ms.
Them
Rivas,
weights
I'm
ain't
gonna
gonna lift
grant your
themselves.
request. When you get a date for a treatment bed, please put
There you
together
go.
an order. Let me know what treatment facility she's going to, and let's be sure that we have the transportation to the treatment facility lined up and set that out. in order, whether she has to come to the jail and report to because somebody's going to come pick her up or whatever. But let's include that in the order also.
We'll be very thorough, Your Honor, including names and addresses of her mother and all of that information.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, Ms. Carroll. Good luck.
I appreciate you. Thank
Your
you.
Honor, one last matter. I'm not entirely sure how long it's anticipated that Miss Carroll will be out of custody for the purpose of treatment. What should we do with regards to any future dates that are set?
Is there a trial date set right now?
Yes, there is.
What is it?
It's set on April 12th. We also
Oh.
have a readiness hearing on the
Oh, she won't be done
4th
by
of
then.
April and
No.
a pretrial conference on the 28th of
Probably
March.
won't even find a bed by
Well,
then.
I think we need to strike all dates. Ms. Reeves, do you agree?
Yes, and Ms. Carroll is prepared to waive her speedy trial until such time as she can reappear after treatment.
90 days, right?
Right now,
Treatment?
At least.
we're not by special court order.
Yeah.
We're not subject to
the mother
the
till she
speedy
gets a
trial
bed.
deadlines through June 30.
Let her loose.
If it's necessary, I'll ask you for a waiver, but otherwise, I don't think it's necessary. All right, well, we'll strike all dates.
Well, that's
Let's
a child
put together a
daycare.
Scheduling order. or
James,
have
it's where
Ms.
grip
Reeves
is. See, that's
put an order that all pending dates are stricken, and I will sign that.
I will
All
do
right?
that. Thank you, Your Honor.
well, good for
Ms.
her. I mean,
Carroll,
again, these people do need treatment. You got to
hold your
try.
destiny in your own hands right now.
I mean,
Understand that?
But at the same time,
Whether
I
you are
get where
successful
Grip
or
was
not,
coming from about the
depends entirely
she,
upon you,
you know,
not your mother or Ms.
was
Rivas or
selling,
anybody else.
not just
If you're
using,
gonna-
but
if you're
selling
gonna
too.
get clean and sober and live a life that allows you to stay out of the court system, it's something you have to do. Okay.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Stay away from them bad
Thank you.
elements.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Gonna jump over to this. Looks like something pretty serious happening here in, I believe, Modesto, California.
Well, and the middle
Department 1, Bishop Cam.
which is silver and black, but it's hard to see in the black and white photo. but
That's
the
really loud?
Sniper, handgun.
It's not loud. It's just modulated as hell. But that's
Proper modulation.
still- He's got the microphone in his mouth.
Sure does.
No, we're not.
were any of those firearms, the firearms that were located, those two firearms I'm talking about, the ones you negotiated to purchase, were any of those?
You got to give him that one
firearms
chance, though, right, Val? At least. And I know you're absolutely right.
Look at the stash on the guy sitting next to the guy
the
talking.
longer of the three.
The little
rifle that
dude?
was depicted.
Yeah,
Was that
I guess
rifle
he's a cop.
similar to the one that was recovered?
Yes,
Safe to say that's probably the same rifle.
yes.
All right. Your Honor, I have no further questions.
Mr. Meyer, additional questions?
Yes. On that exhibit, people 7, that handgun picture there, compare that to people's 6.
Yes.
It does look
Difference
simple.
in those.
Oh, judge is leaving. Oh, no, no.
Handgun was 5 and 6, that the slide is open, correct?
She's looking down at his package.
And in the picture.
Probably good.
The rest of it sent to you from Mr. Kano, the slide on that handgun is closed.
Yes.
So that makes them look quite different.
There you go, Mayor.
We're talking about these photos?
Yeah, compared to the one in people's 7.
Talking about these PP.
Those are evidence photos that we took. That's why the slide's open.
I know.
Is that where you're at? Oh, okay. Okay, okay.
Are the police on trial?
So I'm wondering if it's the little dude or not that's right there. I don't
Because he's wearing the exact same shirt the guy on the stand is. Look at it. You can see the patches and everything.
Weapons are going to take a more similar appearance to the one depicted
This is interesting, but
what's his shirt say? Domestic.
It would be more similar, yes.
I don't know. I mean, there's a police officer.
Mr. Meyer? I'm
I
sorry.
don't know.
Mr.
Let's go back and see what's
April
happening here. I think that's a little too much
Case the
going
28th
on
of
there.
March.
A
No,
little too
that's
serious
this coming Monday, isn't it?
of a case.
Oh, no, this coming Monday's the 21st. I'm sorry.
Oh, Pop got
Okay, it'll be the
confused again.
28th. So it'll be March 28th at 2:30 in the afternoon. If you don't have an attorney by then, when you come to court on March 28th,
Is the first
I
floor
will
camera
appoint
right in front of a
lawyer for
heater?
you at that time. But
Every once in a while
if
you see like the
if
waves,
you
like
are
heater.
confident that you're going to be able to
Yeah,
hire
right
an
there.
attorney, I'll wait until March 28th and we'll see what happens.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
And Judge, I'd like to put it out there because, you know, I've had some conversations with Mr. Galbraith, who's Mr. Dungy's CCO. There's a chance, and I think it's a likelihood, depending on, you know, he wants to speak to Kyle's dad, but they might change his recommendation to a reinstatement if Mr. Dungy will agree to go back for a second round of inpatient treatment. So I just want to put that out there, that, you know, the path of least resistance on this, if the court would agree, would maybe be a reinstatement and he goes back to treatment directly from jail.
You understand what the prosecutor's saying, Mr. Dungy?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so even if the court finds that you violated your DOSA in the ways that I described to you, doesn't necessarily mean that your DOSA is going to get revoked and that you're going to send to prison. That's an option that the judge would have, but the judge
can
would
do that
also
if you
have
like.
the option of imposing some punishment, a period of incarceration, for example, for 30 days or something like
Is there
that.
any chance to go over there by the payphone
Reinstate
didn't
you
kill
on your
somebody?
So
Waiting on a call.
just keep that in mind and you can discuss that with your attorney.
They're like, who's the other guy? I don't know.
We'll
He's
see
been
on
following me
March
around
28th.
all day. I'm kind of worried.
Got first appearances over in Kansas, of all places.
Judge Crum, Judge Harry Crum.
May 9th, 2:30. Okay. Okay, thank you, sir. And finding that you qualify for court-appointed counsel, the attorney who has the contract on felony cases is James Watts, so I will appoint him to represent you on this case. It'll be kind of confusing because you've got two different attorneys, two different court dates. I'll get it figured out, sir.
Will you?
All right, what we need to do now is establish bond on the two cases.
Can you please?
Ms. Booker, what is the state's recommendation first in?
Is he gonna cry about it?
He's a little emotional.
Yes, Your Honor, the state's recommending a 2,000 cash or surety bond due to the nature of the circumstances as well as the weight of the evidence.
He is not happy.
It's alleged that the defendant went to the victim's residence after being served a protection order to try to make contact. There's security footage as well as photographs of the defendant at the property. There is prior records of convictions, but they are pretty old. There's a 1993 possession of a hallucinogenic drug and the possession of a stimulant. 2001 that's giving a worthless check and driving while suspended. So it's been a while since there's been any criminal history with this defendant, but the state believes due to the nature and circumstances of the charge as well as the weight of the evidence that a 2,000 cash or surety bond is appropriate, as well as no contact with the victim or his property.
Ma'am, I'm sorry.
All right, Mr. Mitchell, I'm going to give you an opportunity to address the court here in just a second, okay?
Please do.
All right, and Ms. Booker in 22 CR 89, recommendation for bond.
Yes, Your Honor, the state's going to be recommending a $5,000 surety bond. Also with GPS on this case, no contact with the victim or property. And obviously, as the court's aware, there's another open case. These are two different victims in the two different cases. In this case, the defendant's alleged to have punched and choked the victim when the victim confronted the defendant about stealing property from her. That property was located in the defendant's vehicle. And law enforcement investigated.
His face is like he's never heard these charges before.
Letter to see if there's some additional things that I can get to see if it's whether or not I can charge him domestic at this point. But right now it's just obviously a misdemeanor, but it was pretty serious circumstances that were alleged to have occurred in this case. The state believes that a 5,000 cash or surety bond with GPS is appropriate, Your Honor, and then no contact with the victim or property.
All right, thank you, Ms. Booker. All right, Mr. Hunt, or Mr. Mitchell, I've got a couple of questions for you.
Yes, sir.
Did you state that you currently have a room at Garden Walk or living quarters?
Tiffany is trying to make me some, yes.
Okay, so you don't have those yet. Where are you currently living or resting your head?
I was staying in a room at Garden Walk and A10. I was staying there where my stuff's at. And I'm supposed to be, once April moved out, I was going to be staying in that room there
Oh, we threw your shit out.
where my stuff's at.
Douche.
I'm getting,
So,
Your Honor, there. I mean, it's
He was
just,
residing, Your Honor, with April White, the alleged victim in the case, just so the court's aware.
so you had been living at Garden Walk with April White?
I was helping her move out of her apartment as Tiffany, the management wanted me to do. Yes.
And you believe you have another room?
I have a place to stay once Tiffany told me I have a place to stay once I get everything established. I do have a
Tiffany's
place
got
to
her
stay.
hand in everything, doesn't she?
Don't get back there. I'm gonna lose my truck and my
It's all
tools.
Tiffany's fault.
No, April and all of her little friends are stealing my stuff right now as we speak. I mean, it's just April has.
They're wearing my underwear.
She was arrested.
My tidy whities.
They eating all my Hydrox cookies.
Yeah.
I know, Your Honor.
You'll have an opportunity to address the merits of the two cases on your respective court dates. I'm just trying to establish bond at this point.
Sir,
What are your ties to Butler County? How long have you lived in Butler County?
I've been here since June. I've been up
Where
here
did you live
forever.
before that?
in Bourbon County.
Wow.
Fort Scott.
Wow.
Which there's no employment whatsoever around there.
Wow.
Okay. Do you have relatives in
No work, Creed.
Butler County?
No, I do not.
Wow.
No, I do
Okay.
not. I came
Do you
up,
have any children that you support?
my son.
Wow.
I have children, Your Honor, but I don't support a damn one of them.
Okay.
Ma'am, I promise you guys, if I'm able to get out of here so I don't lose my stuff and I don't lose my job, I'll do anything you guys want me to do. I'll wear a tether, I'll report daily to somebody. I promise, I just can't lose all my tools. That's the only thing I have left.
I own a business called Tool Time with
I'm not trying to get into the merits of the cases, but
I prefer men.
Did this Tiffany at Garden Walk, did this incident occur?
April, her band of bitches are stealing all my stuff, Your Honor.
I mean,
Your Honor, the address that it occurred at is 1325 Money Avenue in Augusta. I guess I'm not super familiar, I guess, with what structure that was in, or it didn't identify.
that would be consistent with where Garden Walk is located.
Okay.
So I don't know if this
Nope, it's
incident,
apartments.
again, I don't want to get into what happened.
Lodgings.
If that's going to change Tiffany's mind or not.
Motor
as to
laws.
what your status is there, but
If something was to happen, that I'm not able to stay there. At 1433 West Olive here in El Dorado, I promise you I have a place there to stay.
And who lives there?
That's a friend of mine, a very good friend of mine.
And what is his name?
Dino. Richard.
Dino?
Yeah.
Walk.
I don't know his last name, Your Honor. Very good friend of mine.
Okay.
And I promise you, sir, there is a place right there for me to stay. I guarantee it. Promise you.
I can almost
I,
guarantee it.
if there's not, I will.
I'll
I
come back
promise
to
you there's
jail.
a place for me to stay there.
Go on. If there's not, what were you going to do?
I'll put an ankle bracelet on. I'll report to anybody daily. I just can't lose my tools and all my stuff, sir.
He loves
Here's
it.
what I'll do. I'm going to keep 22 CR 87 at 2,000 cash or surety, no contact with alleged victim.
April.
I'll modify, or won't modify because the bond hasn't been set, but I'll set 22 CR 89 also at 2,000 cash or surety. No contact with April White. And I will require a GPS ankle monitoring.
Put
And
your
Your Honor,
foot
this
in it when you
court's
said that, didn't
records
you,
on
bud?
22 CR 87. The victim would be Anthony Hassett.
And no contact with Anthony Hassett in 22 CR 87.
No problem. I'm making contact before. No problem. I mean, if I'm able to get out of here, just get my stuff, man. I don't have no cash. I don't have no money. I can't.
Can one of y'all loan me $10?
I'll make promises to anybody.
Mr. Mitchell, I've set very reasonable bonds.
I don't have no cash, man. I don't have anybody to help me.
And under these circumstances, these are very reasonable bonds.
I understand and respect that, sir. But
So if you are able to make bond, you need to contact each of your attorneys and let them know how to get a hold of you and what your court dates are.
I was thinking that too. Listen, I mean, come
Anything
on.
else we need to address? These two cases, Ms. Booker.
Your Honor, thank you.
Hello, Nats.
Mr. Mitchell.
I got a list here from him.
Get out of here, sir, because I have no money. I'm going to lose
We
all
need
my
to
stuff.
find these. These are all his
Losing my
tools:
stuff,
3
sir.
screwdrivers, a hammer, a big rock,
Well,
and an old
I don't
rope.
want you to
We
either,
need to
but
get those from April
gotta-
as soon as we can.
I understand, but I just wish I could get out of here just to get my stuff, because now I have no way of making money. I have no way of making anything. I can't rely on my parents. I can't rely on anybody because nobody will help me.
Maybe it's because you keep going to jail.
Further than the court will be in recess. Mr. Mitchell, you're excused at this time. Thank you.
Didn't work for you, buddy. So sorry.
November
So close, but
2020,
yet
is that
so
one of
far.
those times?
Judge Randy Shelton providing the.
That's one of those times, yes. That's one of those. There was another time as well, which was one of the last times.
Double
that-
up?
That's when I
Look at
finally
her.
said that I was done. And
Yeah,
that was
where's
in
she
March
at?
2020, but in November of 2020, that was another incident that happened. Yes, ma'am.
Did you lose consciousness that night because of lack of oxygen or being face down in the bed?
Yes.
I guess eventually you went to sleep. What happened the next morning?
The next morning,
We made sweet love for hours. It was beautiful.
he just make me coffee. I'm sorry. He'd make me coffee and it was like nothing happened. I had coffee and I had eggs. I had this amazing breakfast. And it was like nothing happened.
Your notes indicate that he
was an amazing
blamed the
breakfast.
incident on alcohol and apologized. Is that true?
Objection,
Yes.
Judge. Judge, I'm sorry. We're talking about notes that I haven't seen. It's hearsay. It hasn't been produced. I mean, the witness needs to testify from a recollection.
Just rephrase the
And-
question.
Judge Frame, did you see that? He like,
I'm not sure how. I mean, she's having a hard time and I'm just trying to direct her to what I'm asking about. But did you have conversations with him the next morning about what happened the night before?
Yes, that he was
Just
sorry,
eggs.
that he would never do it again. And you know,
zero juice.
when you're very easily gaslit and manipulated for so long, you just kind of get used to it. So
Ooh, there's
I
a
said, "Okay,
catchphrase of
we
the
have a time
day,
together.
gaslit.
We need to do better. Let's go to church." And so that was that. I kind of let it go, like I did many times before. It was just a cycle.
So who
and,
did he choke?
It affected my health greatly.
The butcher now and put it up to her name.
It was not a good time
I
in my
said,
life.
"If you want to
at
live
that
to
moment,
see
but,
tomorrow, you
yeah,
better
there was-
start frying
there
them
was
eggs
something happened
a
the
little
next
bit better than what you're frying. And I'm
Right.
tired of eating sloppy,
December of
sloppy eggs.
2020, I'd like to talk to you about an event that happened when you were visiting from Texas, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
And start by telling us how much he had had to drink that evening.
That's a bad. Do we?
I don't know if we want to stay with this one. This one's pretty rough.
No, this one's
I can't make too many jokes except for
That night, I believe
Angie
I
and
was
the
folding
breakfast.
laundry, and I myself had a glass of wine.
See,
and
this
that's what
lady's
went
a
on. We
witness.
on
Is
TV like
the
we always
girl
did,
crying over
and
there the victim?
let's just watch and
happened
not
to
comment on
where-
anything, and you guys be quiet in chat
he was getting mad at me because I was crocheting.
if that's possible.
And
Because you
as I
were
was
what?
crocheting, I was crocheting.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. And you know, you don't
Hanging out with
you do
Carol?
that, but you don't spend time with me. You know, I mean, just kind of
Turning their
berating
mic
me.
off.
And I'm sitting there making a project. Actually, it was for the girls. I made them these little like bikini things that they wanted. So, and I was like, well, it's for the girls. They wanted it. They asked me for it, and this is a great stress relief. And he just kept berating me, just
I'm
really
sending it a
nasty
private
little
chat.
things. And then as the night went on, I was cleaning my room. I was trying to do this purge in the house, and he likes to like ramble until you can't take it anymore, to the point where it's like, oh my God, please just stop. I can't mentally take this. It mentally
We know what you think.
drains you. And he as the fight escalated, I just kept like moving to another room, just kept moving to another
Either
room.
that or
Danny,
very
please stop. Danny,
well
please stop. Leave me alone. The kids are here.
Very.
You know, the conversation got louder. He got nastier, and then you know, I got loud back with him, and I said, stop, enough. So as the night went on, I'm still crocheting, and we get into this fight again, and I tried to leave just to create space because the kids are sleeping, and I don't want the kids to hear what's going on. We have all 4 kids in the house at this point. So I go to grab my bag, my insulin pump, my phone. I open the door, and as I open the door, he slams it back. My hand's out because I'm trying to grab the door to swing it open. And he slams the door on my hand. I fall back. I thought I broke my arm, and you know, I work with my hands. So I'm like, oh my God, what's going on? He just looks at me like nothing. So I finally call my mom. I'm able to get my phone. I call my mom. And I said, you need to pick us up. Like, you need to pick me and the boys up. I can't be here. So my parents
Hi,
come,
Jack.
my dad's in the car. My mom comes in, helps me gather the stuff from the
Jack.
boys' things. It's 1 a.m. in the morning. My mom's yelling at him. I'm going to charge you. This is getting disgusting, what you do to my daughter.
Judge,
And then
ma'am, objection to anything that mom said. It's hearsay.
Okay, yeah, you
I
can't. repeat-
apologize.
That's okay. Happens all
Okay.
the time. Go ahead.
So slams the door in my father's face, and this is me witnessing it as I'm in the car with my kids now. And I just see my dad shake his head. We get in the car and we drive, and we go to their house. And I just stay there for the next couple of days. My mom ends up giving me some kind of anti-inflammatory stuff for my hand. We have a friend who's a doctor who was able to kind of check me out and, you know, determine it wasn't broken, but it was severely bruised. And I just stayed away for, I believe it was 2-3 days. Yeah, but those were the events of that night.
Do you have reason to believe that the little girls witnessed what happened with your wrist?
Yes, ma'am.
Anyone can get that attorney to
Again,
read me a
I
bedtime
believe this
story
is
tonight?
hearsay, but
She does have a nice
they had mentioned to their father because, and I'll tell
Hearsay.
you why, because they ended up Danny confronted me about it. So
Okay, go.
if I can finish, okay.
Go ahead. I think so far.
He, Gemma had told Billy, Danny's father, Daddy saw Miss Jenny's hand in the door. And then Danny came to me and said, my dad knows everything. He knows the kids were up and they heard all that. And I just said, I don't know what to tell you. And then I don't quite remember what happened after that. But that to me confirms that the kids did know.
Guessing Daniel and the
Was
blonde
this an
are
isolated
exes.
instance, or were there other instances that he fought and berated and did these things in front of the children?
There were many instances.
I mean, Daniel's an
I
asshole.
tuned
He
a lot
gets
of
all
it
these
out.
hotties.
It was really stressful. I try to just distance myself as much as I could just to pacify him. And, just so the kids don't hear what's going on and see what's going on. But it was hard. We don't have too big of a house. Or what we didn't have, too big of a house. But there were more instances, yes.
Then you don't have it no
You
more. Huh?
mentioned, I think specifically, and the night of March in 2021. Can you tell the court what happened that night?
I could look, actually.
So that was, as I was referring to, pretty much the final straw for me. I remember he was watching TV. Again, he was drinking.
Is she reading?
Do you remember what he was drinking? What he was drinking, or how many?
Usually it was a seltzers. He always bought the seltzers because they were always on sale.
Like
It was always a 2-for-1. I
Are
always
these
bought them at
alcoholic seltzers? Hard
Yes,
seltzers?
ma'am.
Do you know how many he had on this particular night?
Usually the packs would.
I'm gonna guess he had 12.
No,
he got
9
them on sale.
9.
9. All right, I got 12.
Be packs of 12. He would pretty much finish about 90% of them, if not polish them off by the end of the night. Their alcohol content is, I think between like 4 and 5%. They're the Bud Light seltzers. So he would frequently drink those pretty much most of the week.
All right. So that night, what was happening?
90%.
We were fighting in front of the kids again. Typical accusing me of cheating on him, accusing me of not spending time with him, accusing me of pretty much everything, which I find out later it was him doing it, not me. And once again, it just kept escalating. At this point, this is a second occasion where we started fighting. And as I was trying to leave and said, I'm done, I'm going to my mom's, I need space, he grabbed my insulin pump. I was able to grab my phone. If you don't know, I need that to survive. That's my lifeline. I have insulin because I'm type 1 diabetic. So he knew if he had that, I couldn't leave.
Diabetes?
We started fighting, kept fighting. I went to my
Diabetes.
bedroom because I couldn't get my insulin pump back. He started restraining me on the bed again. And then somehow we ended up on the living room floor.
He restrained you in the bed again. What are you talking about?
He would hold his body on me, face down, just to, if we were fighting, to manipulate or just to control the situation, or just to try to control me.
But yet she continues to see him and all through this time.
On this night, Again, he took my insulin pump. I couldn't leave. Eventually, I believe he stole my keys. I can't remember. I couldn't get away. So the
It's
next
a
thing
pro
I know,
move.
we're on
Insulin
the
pump swiping.
living room floor. My face is in the ground. I can't breathe. I go to call we have an Alexa in our house. Well, had Alexa in our house, and I went to say, Alexa, call mom. He unplugged it, and then he put his hand over my face and my nose, and he covered my, so I couldn't breathe. I had dog hair in my mouth, in my face, from being on the carpet, from us struggling. So the only thing I had as a weapon was my teeth. So I bit him as hard as I could to get off of him. There was a point where I was calling for my mom. I was so desperate. I was calling for God. God help me in the situation because I can't breathe. And so there were moments where it got a little blurry. I think there was a moment where I kind of passed out from
That's what I gathered as well.
My mouth, and yeah, it was not good.
I had a lot of dog hair in my mouth.
But it got a little fuzzy towards the end of that night as well.
How many had you had to drink?
Leave the house at that point, go to your parents' house?
I did not that night. I finally was able to get away from him.
Wasn't this guy been in prison yet?
My kid's bedroom that night, and just berated myself in the room. I put the crib in front of the door, and I just barricaded myself. I think it was at that point, the night it was, like 2 or 3 a.m. Things had calmed down a little bit, and I finally was able to just kind of gain some
right, Nancy. You're gonna need
peace in that moment, just being in my kids' room. I was hoping that because the kids were asleep, and I'm talking about my boys. I have, Rocco, which is 2, and my oldest, who's 3.
Nope, that's why we're being quiet, Ronnie.
Stop and leave me
That's
alone.
right.
For a little bit that worked, and then finally I think I passed out and just went to sleep. I was just so drained mentally, emotionally, and physically. And
Mike, you
Were
dropped
there
that.
any marks on your
Maybe I can
face
find
following that
Let me
evening?
look. I got a minute.
Yes, ma'am. There was a mark on my cheek. It was more of a rug burn. There were several marks on my arms as well. I had gone to my parents' house the next day, and I think we had people over. It was our church group who was over, and I put on makeup to cover up. And I'm a makeup artist, so that's like my job. I can do those things, and so
another one.
my dad's like, "You got a lot of makeup on today, Jenny." Like, what's? I was like, "Oh, I just it's Sunday. It is what it is." So the next day, which was Monday, I go to work. I didn't have any makeup on at this point, and it looked like the bruise had kind of faded. So I wasn't too worried about it because I wasn't really telling my parents too much. I just had a lot of anxiety, and I felt like I was kind of stuck. So my mom looked at me and she said, "What's that on your face?" And I said, "Oh, the kids threw something on my face. It's a toy." And she looked at me and she goes, "Jenny, I don't believe you." And I just kind of stood quiet. And
We
my
all
dad
know
comes
Daniel's
in
an
the room,
ass.
And my dad looks at me and he starts.
Objection, Judge. Objection, anything
Okay,
mom or dad.
I was there in the room, sir.
Well, no, Ms. Jimenez, it's just a rule. You can't repeat something that someone else said unless it was Daniel or Miss Jennings, okay? Or Mary.
I understand. I apologize.
We'll
Okay.
move on, Jenny, but was that the final straw? Did your father get Danny out of your home at that point?
He called his dad, and I was there right in front of him. My dad picked up the phone, called him, demanded that, told Billy what had happened, told Billy Danny probably has bite marks on him from Jenny, and she's got marks on her from protecting herself, and he needs to get out of the house now. This is it. We're done. We're done with this. And that was the final straw of him moving out.
I may have gotten this wrong, but was there a time that Mr. Zarella broke into your home?
Yeah, well, yes, so I had changed the
Uh,
locks. This was right before the incident of March 2021. He was
getting too
technically
heavy
still
here.
living in my home.
Yeah. So
And it was obviously really rocky.
bring
And I
that
kind
volume
of
down real quick. And I've
planning my
dropped the
way
link
out.
in all
So
chats
I
where we're at.
changed the locks.
We've got, I would normally hang out for a little bit longer, but listen, we've got a long chase
Real
coming up
long.
at 4:05 because it is
So I'm not
Friday. We always
opening
do, you know,
the door by themselves. So I
bigger
changed
ones
the
on
lock.
that. So we'll be back with We Got a Chase coming up at 4:05. Link is in the chat to this courtroom if you want to see how things play out with that. Otherwise, we'd sit with you for a little bit. But we've also got members only at 6. Don't forget too. So we've still got a long day as we wrap up 2 hours and 7 minutes of We Got a Case today.
By the way, Creed, I have a feeling that this is all custody hearing. That's all this is. There's
Yeah.
nothing criminal going on because Miss Jimenez isn't filed charges against this man or anything.
Yeah,
I have a feeling it's just between Blondie here and the asshole Danny up there at the top.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this one plays out. Let us know if you watch. Like I said, we dropped the link in all the in all the chats. Appreciate you guys hanging out with us as always. We Got a Case. We'll be back Monday at 1 p.m. Another 2 hours of live courtroom drama. 405 East, big long one happening today. It's going to be fun, and I think that's about it. Oh, other than if you're new here, like, subscribe, notifications on.
There you go, Creed. Until next time, guys, and best of luck to everyone watching this one. Whew. Please remember.
Good luck watching that. Was some real stuff, real drama.